clothes.
Oh my god.
Debbie, do you want to see my sweatshirt?
Whenever you have a panic attack, just look at Dun.
Yeah, I have you all
He'll
pulled
make
up on
it
another
go away.
screen. Okay, is this
He'll
all
make it
good?
go away.
Okay. Hold on, I have to take my headphones off.
There's two things happening at once.
Oh my god.
Creepy music.
Messaging me. You people need to leave me alone. No! It was one of my friends who was saying, just wanted to pop in and check in. Today's the campaign, right? Why did you have to remind me?
I'll be right back.
Okay. So we are all here. Alright, can everyone hear? There should be music playing.
Oh, I haven't even clicked in.
Yeah, it's kind of important.
It's very faint, but I can hear music.
Okay. I didn't want it to be too.
Why does it sound like combat music?
Yeah, it does.
It's giving combat.
Debbie.
What?
Oh my god, Doctor Who! Sorry.
I had to put it up on my other screen. Oh shit. Fuck! No! I'm already messing up! There we go.
Jesus. I don't know if y'all can hear every time a loud ass car drives past my window, but I can hear it, and I want to kill them.
I cannot.
Okay, good.
Dun can though.
Dun-Dun's disappointed.
Do we want to have an audience? Because I have a friend who wouldn't mind spectating.
Sure.
I'll
Oh my
find
god, wait.
that.
Y'all want to see my little treat of a sweatshirt that I'm wearing today?
Yes.
Fuck, I gotta remove the webcam cover. Hi, I look like this, but...
Hold on, let me see.
That's
Oh
huge.
yeah, Silly Goose University.
Silly Goose University, y'all.
Oh god, my hands are
Silly
shaking.
goose.
Hey, Sevi,
What?
I give you a piece of wisdom and advice. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Just calm the fuck down.
I
Oh my God.
like actually want to wring your neck, dude. If I could reach through
Oh
this
my
screen. Anyways, guys, this is my friend. I roleplay with them.
Hi, friend.
They're gonna be
Not
watching
be the
us
Hotch
D&D.
person. This,
No, it's not,
better
it's
not be
not.
Hotch.
It's
Thank
not,
the
it's
Lord
not,
Jesus
it's not.
Christ.
She doesn't know about Hotch.
Thank God.
Shut up! Okay.
I should just dress Dun up as Nova.
God, he's still there. Buddy.
He will be here.
Okay.
He's giving you moral support.
I never want him to
Get
leave,
all this
actually.
shit set up.
He'll sit there. He's in his OnlyFans position.
Shit, I forgot my other notes. I should
I
have
feel
that
like I
up.
need to scoop him.
Oh my god.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
Hello there. Have you seen the video of the? It's two childhood voice actors. So it's like one guy who voices, what was it? The guy who does all the countries in the world. That song, Wacko.
Yakko!
Yeah,
Yakko.
Yakko.
So the mouse that guy voices, and someone also got Chris Griffin to do the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight scene. But it's just them doing those voices, so her from me. You turned her against me. No, not this song.
Who's that?
Bald
Bald
capybara.
capybara.
Why is this not staying on screen? Oh shit, I didn't mean to zoom in. Okay, stay. I'm so fucking nervous, dude. Okay, y'all gotta give me a minute. Actually, we're gonna do our first dice roll of the campaign. I want everyone to roll a d20. We're rolling for initiative already.
Okay. I'm rolling.
Thanks, Pookie.
Of course.
Not you.
Wait, hold on. Not me!
No, my friend in the chat. Okay.
Wow.
Shut up. I already give you enough attention.
This is true.
I'm freaking Nick nervous. Why is it gonna do this every time I open up another thing? Excuse me.
I need pictures of initiative rolls or honor system.
We'll honor sister. Yep. We'll honor sister.
Honor
Yay.
sister. Honor sister.
Honor sisters. Honor sisters. Alright. If you got 20 through 15. 15 through 10.
Oh god.
Damn.
Holy shit! 10 through 5.
Me.
Okay, Alyssa, what did you get?
7.
7. Emma, what did you get?
9!
9.
9! Let's go! Highest roll!
It's initiative, bro.
Okay, so we're doing Emma.
So I rolled the 7. I was like, God damn it.
And then Alyssa, and then Jess, what did you get? Pookie? Jess? Oh no. Was Jess
Oh,
not
no,
here?
no, no.
That's embarrassing.
Did you just start and Jess is not here? Did she say she was gonna go do
No.
something?
I don't know.
I didn't hear her say anything.
I didn't either.
Damn it, did I not roll the highest then? There's a chance.
There's a chance. We might have to start again. That's okay, it gives me more time.
The fact that we were all so silent from 20 through 15?
Yeah. 15 through 10? Nothing. For a second, I thought you guys didn't realize what I was doing.
Nope.
Nope. We just at the single digit rolls.
Wait, you guys also have modifiers to initiative.
Oh god, fuck. Right, hold on.
Yeah, y'all have modifiers to initiative. It should be on your player
Where the
sheet.
hell is that? Oh shit! I
My
didn't roll a 9!
What's
Fuck,
your-
I don't remember. Hold on.
I
Oh
didn't-
shit, I rolled a
remember.
10, bro. Never
I
mind.
rolled a 9, 10, 11. I rolled a 12! Let's go!
It's fucking wicked!
Guys, I made it into double digits.
I'm barely there. I got a 10.
You're there with me.
That's okay.
Boogly boogly.
Hi.
Great. Googly moogly.
Y'all just started without me.
No, we didn't! No, we didn't! We waited! As soon as
We
the
waited.
happened.
Nyla was in the bathroom.
I mean, not inaccurate.
I know your bathroom schedule, don't worry.
I keep forgetting Dun Dun is at the bottom of my screen.
Yeah, I keep looking. Oh wait, shit. Okay, y'all can see my little like frog icon on my speech thing, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
The flag.
Okay. Allow me to show you another wonder.
Man,
This is my coffee.
I also am a MILF. I love frogs.
I love frogs.
Dun Dun also
Or-
loves frogs.
In like an eat them kind of way, or
You'll never know.
like
You'll never know.
that's fair, you know? That's fair. I respect that. Yeah, both the sweatshirt and the mug were impulse Etsy buys that I will never regret. The third one that I have not with me, but I'll wear sometime, is the it's a t-shirt and it's got the like Ted Cruz "This Man Ain't My Son"
Oh.
on it. Yep.
We need to re-roll our initiative, or
Yeah, just give me 1
Yeah.
second.
okay.
Okay.
I have a prologue, but I have to edit it because it wasn't long enough, so just give me 1 second. Okay. 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 We're ready. Alright, guys. From the top, give me them rolls.
Rolling.
Oh, Jalen, why are you messaging me? Alrighty, are we all ready with them rolls?
Yes.
Yep.
Alright, 20 through 15.
Emma.
Actually, I have higher than a 20.
Oh.
Shit! Alright.
Yep.
Alyssa, what did you get?
22.
22, hell yeah. Emma, what'd you get?
17.
17. And Jess, what'd you get?
11.
11. Wonderful. Did you also do your modifier?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I have to get up my reference sheet for you bitches' names. Because who can remember those?
I forgot my own name until I pulled up my notes earlier.
Yeah. How do you say your character's name?
Yeah.
Elzanaya.
Oh.
Sorry.
I'm gonna forget that in like 3 seconds.
That's fine.
Naya.
You can probably call her Elle and it would be okay.
L.
I mean, granted, I don't know how to pronounce my character's name. That's why her nickname is Nyla, so.
My character, some of the just like mannerisms that she has, I drew inspiration from a character in a TV show whose name is Zan. And so my mom helped me come up with the name for this character, and we thought it would be fun to insert Zan somewhere in the middle of the name, so that's why it's Elzanaya.
I see.
But the L was the part that I cared about. She's an L.
Ew.
Okay.
I wanted an E in the name.
Alright, let me make sure that I have this right. So we have first is Elzanaya, second is Nova, and third is Nyla. Right?
Yeah.
That sounds right to me.
Alrighty. I'm gonna have a panic attack. Anyways,
You and me both.
here we go, guys. Start of session 1. Does anyone have any questions before we start?
Can I
Have I
try?
prayed today?
Huh?
Have I prayed today? I completely forgot.
No, actually. Give me that roll, Pookie.
Okay. I forgot what we said the roll was. Hold on.
It is. I have it in my notes. Hold on, let me look for it.
I think it's a D20, but
Yes,
I've got this.
Cold.
I've got the.
It's cold
Just
in
like
here. I'm sorry.
I forgot just like the basic morning, like, commune. goddess.
So that one's not your spending one. Your normal one, I think, is just going to be a flat D20, and then you tell me what you get, and then I will decide your fortune of the day.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, the spending I think happens later, but yeah.
Yeah, that's whenever you tell me, hey, I want to spend something. So just roll me a flat D20, no modifier, and tell me what you get.
2.
Okay.
You got it, too. Alrighty.
God damn it! I roll a 22 on initiative and a 2. Oh my god.
Alrighty. I don't know how to start. Okay. Here we go, guys.
Sevi, I sent you a message.
You sent me a message. What'd you send me? Oh, fuck. Yeah, I will have my phone by me too, so. Yes, you do. You roll as well for me. And then tell me what you get. Flat check.
I
no
do not.
modifier. You do not roll for me. But
No.
Nyla, give me a roll.
9.
You got a 9?
Yeah.
And this, we don't have a roll set up for the other one, right? Just the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we all have weird extra rolls?
Yeah, for the most part.
guess.
Let me make sure that
Okay.
you don't have one.
No, I won't have one right now.
Yeah, you won't have one until later.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Alright.
Also, I'm sending you another message.
Okay. This is so chaotic already. That's who you just did. Oh, you mean
Okay.
initiative?
No!
The roll you just did was for that. Typing. Not
Aggressive
yet, 'cause
typing.
we aren't starting
Okay.
yet. That's for later.
Loki, go away!
There's Mr. Sparkle.
Stop attacking me. Wait, what?
Nothing. Okay. Let me get proper music. No, this is good music. Okay. So, the countryside of Kila is regarded as one of the many splendors bestowed by the gods, with rolling fields of luminous flowers that stretch as far as the eye can see, babbling rivers that drift past, only flooding when storms crack against the horizon. The drums of war still echo in the valleys from the age of turmoil, remnants of battle left as a bitter reminder of the utter devastation that comes from tyranny, and a warning to those who govern Kila. We meet our travelers in the thriving capital of Irigan, a port city in the northeast part of Kila, once a beacon of travel before the calamity, now one of the most famous ports of Irthe. Irigan bubbles with life as preparations for its yearly festival, the celebration of the Blue Moon, are underway. We start... where is this? We start by the town hall. Right here is going to be our town hall. And over here is going to be our inn. Why don't we start with Alyssa? Why don't you tell us where your character is and give us a little introduction?
Yeah. Do I need to be by the inn or can I be anywhere else?
You can be anywhere, just tell me where you are.
I don't know what the other buildings are, but I'm going to say that Elzaniah is an elegant, high elf with flowing blue robes and long seemingly perfect blonde hair who is just about to come out of a tent, having just cured a humble civilian and sent them on their way. She places a single coin into a purse and then looks eagerly at the sky before, I don't know, standing up and then looking around. She's close to the inn on one of the busy streets.
So as
Should I introduce more about the character?
No, we'll leave it at that. I think that's good.
Okay.
So as you step out of the tent, you start looking around and you see that it's very lively in the town. You see that there are a lot of people walking past you. Small children are running past, very excited. Their parents running behind them trying to catch up. You see some of the elderly folk that are in the town walking past with their canes. Some of them have their lovers at their side holding hands as they try and go towards the town hall. You see in the corner of your eye though, a little white slipping past the tent and going into the alley, and you hear some rustling in one of the trash cans. I want you to give me a perception check.
What's my perception? Hold on. Okay. That is a 13.
13, not bad. So you notice, because he's not trying to be quiet at all, dear old Henry is climbing up the trash cans. Henry is a goose. Henry is a goose that is wearing a leather-strapped backpack. He has a map hanging from the bottom of it. And you kind of see a chain hanging from his neck, which is almost very ethereal in nature. There's a little red gem that sits on it. You're not quite sure what it is, but it does hold something for all of our other players out there. Henry is currently
I know what it is.
Neck deep in a trash can, throwing out all the trash he can find because he smells something, and you don't quite smell what it is, but you know something has his attention. And as all these children are running around, one of them also notices Henry and immediately darts over, much to the dismay of her parents. She reaches down and she starts to run her hand along the back of Henry, ruffling his feathers on his tail. Henry still just does not care because he is invested into this trash can. All of a sudden, the little girl starts kind of reaching for the backpack. And you see Henry whip around and he snaps at her real quick. Just one little peck. And he reaches right for her fingers. Now he doesn't get her, but he does get quite close. And the little girl wrenches her hand back and she screams, "Mommy! Mommy! There's a bird! It's eating trash!" And she immediately goes running back to her parents that are in the courtyard right before the inn or the town hall. You see the mom grab.
I'm so sorry, you cut out. What did she scream?
She screamed, "Mommy, there's a bird digging through the trash." So the little girl runs back to her mom, and her mom grabs her hand. She's like, "Oh goodness, is everything all right? Did it get you?" The little girl kind of looks a little scared. She's got some tears welling up in her eyes, and she goes, "No, but it did really scare me, and I don't think that a bird like that wearing a backpack should be in the garden or near them. You should go say something to that woman." And you see the mom looks over at Henry, finally notices that he has a backpack on. She doesn't walk up to you. She sort of takes you in. She kind of gets you see a look in her eyes that she doesn't know whether or not to go talk to you or not. Do you want to go and try and talk to this lady, or are you just going to leave it as is?
No, I give her a gracious but somewhat sheepish smile, and then I scold Henry, and I tell him to get his neck out of the trash can, and I walk over to him to investigate what had gotten him so hung up in the trash bin.
Henry has gone and completely ignored you. His neck is back inside the trash can. And you notice whenever you go to look in, there is something shining in the very bottom. You have to dig your way a little bit through the trash. You see at the very bottom, there's just a pool of ale, and Henry, bless his heart, thought that it was something shiny. So he dips his beak down, and he sort of starts messing with the ale, and he's so close to dipping his tongue into it.
Now, Henry, here's one of your shiny toys. I promise you know it's much better. And I give Henry his favorite shiny toy to distract him from the ale that is quite distasteful.
Henry... I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna make a roll. Where are Henry's stats? Give me a second to find. Dear old Henry.
I have them pulled up.
I have them in my book. Let's see. Henry is going to make an intelligence check to see if he will be outsmarted by you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or if he's gonna continue. If he's basically gonna make an intelligence check to see if he can be persuaded to take the shiny object that you have. Let me see. I'll just do a flat. Let's do.
He has 0 modifiers to intelligence.
He does have 0 modifiers, but he does have base of 5. So we're gonna see. I'm just gonna do a basic D12.
Hey.
That is a 9. Henry knows that what's in the bottom of that is something that you don't want him to have. So now he wants it even more. So Henry dips his whole body into the trash can and is now ferociously digging through the trash to try and get the ale that's at the very, very bottom. His body is now covered in gross old food that he didn't care about before, but now he really doesn't care about it. He's got bits of like banana stuck in his feathers. His body is now filthy because this is the trash can that's right behind the tavern. So he has old scraps of food, he has bits of wood that are from old bowls that were destroyed. He now has his entire face in the pool of ale. And Henry, again, bless his heart, is still trying to get that shiny thing at the very bottom of the trash can. Would you like to try and get Henry out?
I'm gonna try this first. Well, I suppose if he's off to explore the reaches of the trash can, then I'll just save these little treats for myself.
We're gonna do... Give me a deception roll.
Let me check my stats again.
Henry isn't smart, but he's very wise.
That is a 19.
So Henry, it's kind of a struggle because this trash can is not very big, but he kind of wiggles his body around, and as you take a step back to mimic walking away, all you see is just a little beak pop up from the lid of the trash can, and slowly Henry lifts his head just a little bit more. He's eyeing you with very suspecting eyes, but he's a little more open to what it is that you have to show him. And he kind of looks over and he's looking real hard at your hands.
I do indeed have a tasty treat in one hand, and I flash it for a moment and then close my hand again and it's gone.
Henry immediately jumps out of the trash can, having caught just a little peek at the treat. And he's kind of fat, because he also has his backpack on, so he's not very agile. So he spreads his wings to like try and lift himself out, either by flying or by, maneuvering himself well enough. However, that doesn't work to his benefit. And as he opens up his wings, he topples over the garbage can. So trash is now all over the alley, and Henry comes like, kind of like waddles out of it. And he goes right up to your hand and immediately is trying to stick his beak in like the space between your thumb and the rest of your fist. He's trying so hard, excuse me, to squeeze his nose in there just to get a little treat.
Oh, Henry. I use prestidigitation to write the trash can and put everything back in there. And then I
Oh, go ahead.
or is that okay?
Yeah, no, you're fine.
And then I hold my hand up where it's still closed, but Henry can see it, and I make sure that he waits, and then I hold my hand out below his beak and allow him to take the treat.
So as Henry starts ferociously eating, is it frozen peas?
Probably.
So as he starts ferociously eating the frozen peas, you see all the stuff from the alley start to pick up and go back into the trash can. All the old moldy food, the broken bowls, and of course the precious ale that Henry was so attracted to are now thrown back into the trash can, and with a little more force than you originally intended for it. The trash can flips back up and rights itself onto the ground, kind of being a little loud. It's not very quiet because you don't have full control over it, but it does right itself, and the trash can does lift itself back up. And as you turn around to go back towards the excitement of the festival, you see that a little crowd has gathered of people who heard you going back and forth with a goose, saw the goose flip out, and then start eating peas. So now there's just a group of people that are outside, including the woman and her small child who originally went up to Henry and almost got bit. She's kind of standing there and just looking at you, and she realizes in that moment that it was a good thing that she did not go and talk to you. And as you stand there and you kind of just take in the scene, everyone starts to like realize that it's no longer imperative for them to have been there, and they realize with almost shameful faces that they were just watching you struggle with that goose and did absolutely nothing to help you. So they all slowly turn back and walk away without saying anything to you. And they are, some of them you did notice, especially the men that were with their wives, you did notice that they took a little bit longer of a glance at you. They did definitely notice how your perfect hair sat and the robes that you're wearing. You're not out of fashion when it comes to Irrigan. It is very flashy here. You start to notice, as people are looking at your wardrobe, you notice that you do fit in quite well with this area, considering that you haven't been here long. In fact, you probably haven't been here long enough to know the cultural standards, but you seem to fit in almost perfectly with these people. You notice the little girl that originally ran up to Henry. She's dressed in some of the finest clothes you probably would have ever seen for a child. Like silk robes that are bright indigo, or in some places there are red flowers that kind of blossom out. You see strings of gold hanging in people's hair, especially the older woman who originally took her daughter's hand. You see that she's dressed in quite elegant clothes, with the hem of her dress spreading on the ground, collecting dirt, but she doesn't seem to notice it, as if a lower class woman who finally was gifted something nice would have cared. You notice that a lot of the men that are walking about are wearing their finer suits tailored specifically to their body, no matter how big or small they are. All of their cuffs fit. They have elegant cufflinks that are matching their partner or prospective partner's clothing. And you notice that there's a crowd gathering outside of the town hall, and curiosity starts to get the better of you, or at least it does of Henry, who's now eaten all of the frozen peas. And he starts to walk away. And as he's waddling towards the crowd, you notice that more and more people are gathering. And now, as you get closer, you hear music coming from the inside. An elegant string quartet is playing. You hear beautiful wind music, or you know, think flutes and pan flutes, and just breathy notes are playing into the air. You notice all the string instruments are playing, and it sounds quite peaceful. And you feel the sense of tranquility kind of wash over you in this moment as all this music is picking up. And you see that everyone almost seems entranced by this music. And the doors to the town hall are closed. but you can still hear from cracked windows this music that's playing. And as we start to pull away from Elzanaya, we start to go towards the tavern, where we meet our new player. Emma, do you want to introduce Nova for us?
Yeah, so, headed swiftly out of the tavern is a girl who is dressed in all black, including her hair, which is almost unnaturally black. She has a satchel around her, which starts to move as a cat jumps out and joins her walking along the street path.
So as Nova walks out of the tavern, you see this man sort of wave her off, just disgust written on his face. He stomps back into the tavern and sits down with a huff as he orders another round of beer. Or whatever fits his fancy in that moment, because he is particularly mad at you, Nova, but he's not going to let it ruin his day, because now he's in a new area, and everything's very lively, everything's very excited. And the cat that's walking by you starts to notice all the excitement, and you can't really tell how he's feeling, but his eyes do squint, and he almost rolls them as more children run past and more people start talking and lively voices are picking up again. You get the feeling that he does not like being there. And as Alfie is walking past you, he sort of dips between your legs, kind of not intentionally trying to trip you, but he wouldn't care if he did. He slips through your legs and starts walking in front of you, and as more and more people are passing through and gathering in front of the town hall, let me say that the tavern is either, I think the tavern's going to be right here, actually. So as you all are walking through the tavern, you notice all the tents and all the people that are gathering outside of it, and Alfie starts to steer you away from it. Kind of starts to go and dips into an alley, and he sits down on one of the crates and he starts licking his paws, starts picking at his claws, and getting out all the dirt that might have rubbed off from being inside of the tavern. And as you're standing there waiting for Alfie to get finished with whatever it seems that he needs to do, you notice a goose slowly, ever so slowly, start to walk over. And he's taken sight of Alfie. And he kind of looks over at Alfie. And Alfie finally notices that something is staring at him with two dumb of eyes. And so he lifts his head up from his paws and he looks over at the goose, and you hear this low, menacing growl come from him. It almost sounds like it's from the depths of a soul. And it sounds almost unnatural for a cat to have that deep of a meow. And then Alfie looks away for a second. He lifts his head, and he looks over at you, then he looks back at the goose, and he does a very adorable squeaking meow at the goose. Now the goose seems kind of unnerved by how nice that sounded, kind of jumps a little bit, and immediately waddles back away from you all. Nova, tell me what it is that you would like to do in this moment. Do you want to go over towards the crowd, or do you want to see what's kind of going on with Alfie?
I believe that Nova is going to walk over to Alfie and pick him up and then sort of stare at the goose. Because I don't think she's seen a lot of geese wandering the streets before, and I feel as though she might peek her head out of the alley and look around for the goose's owner, because he has a satchel.
That he does.
This goose belongs to someone.
So as you sit
And
there... Oh, go ahead, please.
No, yeah.
So as you sit there and you stare a little longer at the goose, sort of taking in his satchel, and then the little chain hanging from his neck, and of course the backpack, or the map that he has under his bag, you notice something shiny. Something a little too unnaturally shiny. And you see from one of the pockets, because Henry now has it back with him, you see a dagger hanging from Henry's backpack. And as you start to get a little more curious, maybe thinking of going out and reaching him, or at least trying to see who owns him, Henry disappears into the crowd of legs, and you hear something in the back of your mind say, "Don't do that. Don't look any longer at that. That's disgusting. You don't like that. Leave it alone. Okay? Leave it alone." And this insistence of just ignoring it, of ignorance being bliss in this moment, kind of takes over you. And it feels less like a suggestion and more like a command to leave the damn goose alone. So, without even insisting or arguing with it, you leave the damn goose alone. And Alfie looks at you again with such annoyance in his eyes, and you hear again in the back of your mind, "I should just leave that damn goose alone." What would you like to do?
I... She's not gonna listen. Nova's gonna follow after the goose into the crowd of people, carrying Alfie sort of under her arm so that his legs are like hanging loose so he can't like wiggle out. And she's gonna go find that goose because he's got a knife.
So
she wants the knife.
So despite the insistence in the back of your mind, Alfie, so he's hanging in your arms, in Nova's arms. He sort of digs his claws in as if he's kneading, kind of making biscuits, but they're a little too hard of biscuits, and he's really digging those nails in. He's clawing a little too hard. He wiggles out of your grasp and immediately jumps onto your shoulder. And Alfie sort of reaches a paw down. He starts like batting your chin almost, like rubbing his face against yours. One part of him trying to be sweet, the other part trying to remind you to leave the damn goose alone. Leave the damn goose alone. But of course, Nova doesn't listen. And you start to dig through the crowd, going deeper into it. The crowd has now gathered of almost hundreds of people, kind of nearing 1,000 with the amount of people that are gathering in the courtyard here, or plaza, I think is a better word for that. So more and more people are starting to move past. You see a lot of the men are brushing their shoulders against yours, a little too rough, kind of jostling you a little bit as they pass. And as you look over your shoulder at one, he kind of gives you this mean stare. And then Alfie turns his head and he looks a little hard at the guy, and this wave of nausea passes over him. You can see the way his face almost turns green. He immediately looks away, almost afraid. Curious, but afraid. And he turns and he goes back to his family and he sort of leaves you alone. And then you start to see the crowd almost naturally pass for you. You see that a lot of the women are taking their children. Some of the partners are moving theirs because they're not paying attention. Some of the conversations end whenever you get too close. And finally you see Henry, who's standing at the foot of the stairs. And holding him back with this little strap on his backpack is an elven woman. She's pulling him back a little harder, and you see another little child running over and pointing over at Henry. She's pointing at the goose, and, you know, she's saying something, but you can't really hear over the rising voices, and again, there's a voice in the back of your mind telling you to just leave it alone. I want you to give me... We'll do a wisdom check. And your DC will be... DC 10. Simple as that.
Okay. Oh, I just crit failed. Well then.
What'd you get? A 1?
I got a 1, yes. Yes, in fact.
So, as you start to get a little closer, and you start taking in the scene of what you're looking at, the voice again in the back of your mind, it's no longer telling, it's commanding. And your body turns away from the scene, and you immediately walk out of the crowd. And as you're walking out of the crowd, people notice how your eyes have almost glazed over, and how your body is moving unnaturally fast. And Alfie is again sitting there, draped across your shoulders now, his tail flicking rather pleased, and his ears are at his side. His eyes are now closed, and his front paws are kind of dangling down your front near your chest. And as your body turns and you walk through the crowd, you immediately go back to the alley where you originally were. I told you to leave the damn goose alone, but did you listen? No, of course you don't. You don't because you think you know better, so then you go and you try and talk to the goose. We're not going to talk to the fucking goose. Understand?
Well, why not? The goose had a backpack.
I don't want to talk to a goose. I don't want to. We're not going to talk to a goose.
Fine.
I don't even want to be here. You insisted on being here.
Because we need to!
We don't, though, do we? No, we don't, because we don't need to go meet with old friends, and we don't need to go and bother and disturb gooses that are not our own.
Well, then how do you suggest we get the things we're going to need?
We'll get them if you listen to me. But you know, no, I know what's best, Alfie. I know what to do. I know where to go. Let's go here to this tavern and then do nothing but get in arguments with men we don't need.
I think we should go back to the goose.
And you see Alfie again start to growl and his eyes narrow and he starts batting at your chest again, sticking his claws in a little deeper into the robes that you're wearing, and he sort of lifts his back paws on your shoulder and gets a good base, and he walks down your back and he starts walking further down the alley, and you feel the control start to leave your mind. You now have control over your body again, but again there's an insistence in the back of your mind that's saying, just follow the cat. Do not follow that goose.
Nova is gonna follow Alfie down the alleyway.
Great. Glad you're finally listening to reason. Do you see how good it could be if you just listened to reason?
I'm just saying, I think that the goose could have led us to something.
What could the bloody goose have led us to? Tell me. Convince me. Convince me.
Okay.
What could it have led us to?
Did you see the person, the humanoid, that the goose walked up to?
Why the fuck would I look at the humanoid when you're sitting there talking about a goose? We weren't talking about a human. We were talking about a goose. Why
I know, but the goose walked up to someone. The goose walked up to someone, and she looked like she could know some people.
So you convincing me looks like a lot of leaps that we're doing here.
I'm just saying, Alfie, you should trust me.
No facts, just assumptions that a goose wearing a backpack with a map hanging from him and a dagger is a good thing to go towards. Do you know what that sounds like? Insanity. It sounds like insanity. And you want to run towards it. Don't laugh at me.
Alfie.
What?
She looked like she knew her way around. Did you see how she was dressed? She could be a local.
Why do we need to talk
She could know a place.
And now we need to talk to locals. Oh.
I'm just saying, Alfie. We aren't gonna get anywhere if we don't talk to anyone.
Okay, you know what? Fine. Go talk to her. I'm going to stay right here. You go talk to her. And then you'll come back to me. No. You know everything. Nova the Almighty. Nova the All-Knowing. Fucking A. Fine, go. Go. We'll go talk to her. Fine. Alfie.
Nova's.
Alfie turns. Very exacerbated. He turns. and he does shoulder check you. In his small little cat body, he does shoulder check you, and he immediately goes back towards the gathering crowd outside of the town hall.
Nova is going to walk back through the crowd in an attempt to find the elven lady that the goose had waddled up to.
I don't understand why we have to talk to a fucking woman who has a goose as a companion. I think that might be bloody mental, but what do I know? Whatever. And in the middle of his mindless rage of a rant, Alfie runs headfirst into the chest of a tall goose who stumbles over. He gives a surprised little whack as he falls over, and his wings go dramatically out to the side, and he kind of lays there on his back. Thank you. He lays there on his back with his wings spread, and he's just staring up at Elzaniah in utter disbelief at what just happened, and he still just lays there with his wings spread. So dramatic.
Oh, Henry, you're fine, my dear. Get up, come on.
That's what you get, Alfie.
That's what I get. That's what I get.
I'm very sorry. Good day, madam. May the goddess bless you today. Is this your cat?
Yeah, that's my cat. You the goose.
Henry is a unique companion, yes, I will admit, but the goddess provides and gifts us in mysterious ways, so I have taken him under my wing, you might say. And Henry squawks.
Nova starts to look over Elzaniah's clothing in an attempt to see if there's anything valuable that she might find.
Give me a perception check.
Of course. Perception.
Do I need to roll anything?
Is there anything you don't want Nova to see?
Not necessarily, but there might. Hold on.
Give me. We'll do an opposed perception check. So both of you. Both of you roll a d20 for me. And we'll honor system it, so just tell me what you roll.
I got an 8.
Okay.
That is a 23.
Oh my god, Nova!
Alrighty.
Do you want me? I'll send it to you. It's okay.
No,
you're
I
fine.
believe it. I 100% believe it.
Yeah, so Nova, you start to look over this elven woman, and you can't help but notice that she's very pretty. That there's something ethereal about her beauty, and the more you look, the less you're looking at her clothes and the ornate garb that she seems to wear, and you stop really paying attention to Henry, and you just notice that there's something about her eyes that you can't really look away from. There's something of a deep wisdom in them, as if someone has lived a life and they've lots of stories to tell, or at least they have the ability to. And you notice that the more that you're staring at her, the less you seem to notice the crowd that's growing around you all, and all the voices start to dim. And as you sit there and you stare a little bit longer, you feel claws dig into your thigh as Alfie has now stood up on his back legs, and he's presenting his paws as if he's to most it would seem that he's trying to be lifted up, but he's breaking you from your train of thought, and you don't really seem to gather anything about her, just that she's very pretty, and there's something about her words that almost has the same effect as the voice in the back of your mind. Can you stop fucking staring at other people?
Hey. I was wondering.
Yes. May I help you in some way?
Do you wanna go get drink, yes?
Sure. A drink sounds lovely. Although I must admit, this crowd is quite curious. They seem to be... I don't know, there must be something going on here, but I'm afraid even with my height, I can't quite see. Have you been able to discern what's going on today?
Particularly, I'm a bit too short to see over this tall crowd. You'd have a better chance than me. But I do know that the tavern behind us, they have some good alcohol prices if you're interested.
Sure, I might have to check with the tavern keeper about their policy on, geese, but of course, that sounds like a lovely idea. Some refreshment and escape from the crowds might be nice. Oh, come along, Henry.
Henry looked deeply offended that you had to check with someone else to see if he's permitted. He's not really paying attention to the conversation, but he definitely heard goose and check, and immediately turned his head away from you. So his eyes are closed and his head is like arched back. And Alfie just...
Well, I bend down to Henry and I remind him gently and softly that of course I know that geese ought to be allowed everywhere, but you know how some people just can't handle how great he is.
Henry seems to appreciate the answer. And he turns his head all the way to the side, so his eyes are vertical instead of horizontal, and he starts to like poke his head against your hand. He wants something.
I give him a little pat.
Oh, that's not what he wants.
I know.
I am going to scoop up Alfie and plop him back into the satchel where he was originally.
And of course, where are my manners? This is Henry, by the way, the goose. Does your cat have a name?
Oh, yes, he does. It's Alfie. But, you can really call him anything. He responds quite well to whatever.
The fuck he
Well,
does?
Alfie sounds like a perfectly nice name. Hello, Alfie. May the goddess bless you today. And she kind of, like, bends to, I don't know. Like, as she says that to him.
Alfie looks over at you, Elzaniah, and his eyes squint, and he immediately turns over in the bag. It's hard to do because he is a rather large cat, and the satchel is made specifically to like fit his body. But he kind of struggles, and it's almost a little embarrassing. But he does struggle and slowly turns around, so his ass is facing forward, and he's now looking backwards. So his ass is presented to you. And Nova, you hear again in the back of your head, the fuck I answer to everything now.
Nova's gonna, like, shove the satchel, like, farther behind so that his ass isn't on display. My bad. His manners are quite terrible.
Poor manners never bother me. With, like, a small glance at Henry that Henry does not notice. But also, Loremaster, real quick, before Alfie showed me his little ass and then turned away, was I able to pick up on anything about him?
Give me a perception check.
Let me double check again. Yeah.
Actually, hold on. I need to check something really fast.
Okay.
Just know that your screen, we can see everything you do.
No, you can't on this one, because I have two screens.
Okay. I was just making sure you knew.
Yeah.
You weren't about to, like, flash all of my lore.
Just dox you real quick.
Also, I gotta say, I am absolutely loving that our first interaction is Nova asking Elzaniah out for a drink. I am here for it.
It's so Nova.
I love it though, and Elzenaya is quite like intrigued by the offer.
The long ass pause was me trying to like Yoda a sentence out, and it wasn't working.
Okay, I had to check something. I do not have Alfie stats, but we will roll against
I
one
sent
another.
them to you.
Did you? Where
Yes,
did you
I
send
can
them?
go find. They're in Discord somewhere.
Oh, okay. I wasn't looking at that.
I don't know how.
I'm here down by the river. And
I hear it. Did you hear Raphael's theme start to play when Alfie was on?
It was
I
perfect.
did not.
I heard. Don't worry, Jess. We'll get to you in a second. I promise.
I'm so sorry.
It's
Jess.
okay. I've
Sorry.
just been quietly freaking out. It's okay.
Oh,
Oh god, there's
You want to see
porn.
my doodles?
yes.
I've been sitting here having a
Goodness.
nervous breakdown this whole time.
Okay, I
I'm just
found them.
winging this. So you're doing
I'm
great,
s-
Jess. Yeah, send them to me again, please.
Yeah. I sent
Excuse
you a reply message, and then you can go find them.
Those are normal.
Yeah.
but
Oh shit, you're right. We never decided what.
That's okay. I'll do it.
That's
I got
okay.
it.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
got it. We'll be fine.
Please.
We'll do. Yeah, Alyssa, give me a perception check.
God. That is a unnatural 20.
God damn, you're rolling
Yeah.
high today.
Don't worry, it'll probably balance
Jess,
out later
are
when
you
things are
okay?
important.
I know you're rolling high on all the like important shit.
That's honestly, that's how it went for my last campaign. Like, okay, a few important things, it was like, holy shit, and then other important things, I dropped all my weapons in like a pond.
You're in the middle of fighting the big bad, and you just drop whatever you're holding.
I threw many of my dice into dice jail.
So, Elzenara, you do look at Alfie a little hard, and as you're sitting there, and despite getting an unnatural 20, you don't really get anything. He does look like a natural cat, and you do notice that he seems very expressive. He definitely understood what it is that you were saying, but there's something there blocking you from really getting a read, and even if you did get a natural 20, you understand that there's something there that's not letting you see beyond. This is a cat. This is just a normal, everyday cat who just is a little more sassy than other people are expecting of a cat to be. But he is very sassy. And you know he totally, absolutely, perfectly understood what you just said. And absolutely understood everything that's going on around him. But that is just a totally normal cat. And that's all that you really get from that.
Righty.
So, as our two new and quickly found friends are going into the tavern, Nyla, what you up to, baby? Oh.
I'm not ready.
You got this, Pookie! Do you need me to give you another minute and we'll just keep going with Nova?
Yeah. Yeah, just give me a minute.
Okay. So we're gonna follow Nova and Elzenaya. I have a little guide on how to say your name, so I keep having to look down. So sorry if I keep pausing before I say it. I have
Bro,
a
you're
phonetic,
so fine.
I have a phonetic
Yeah,
way of
did I
saying
give you a
everyone's name.
phonetic?
You did.
Did I give you a phonetic thing? Okay.
But it didn't really
I don't
help
know.
me.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that helpful. I was trying to figure out, like, how would I...
I have L as in like ELLE, and then Za as ZAH, and then Naya is just NIA.
Yeah.
So that's my phonetic. And then for the last name, you're like, just French. So that didn't help me fucking either.
It's I'm sorry, Sombretoine is how you would pronounce that in French.
Cool. I'll have
Okay.
you
You
say
can
that again.
you can look up the translation if you want.
So, as we follow them into the tavern, you notice that it's quite lively here as well. It's not really an escape from all the noise that's going on outside. There aren't as many people here as you originally saw Nova. A lot of people did leave in between that time. You notice the man that you met earlier, he's now gone. He was deep into his cups, and you hear people garbling about how they had to carry this fat ass man back up to his room, and he, of course, had to be inconvenient and is all the way on the top floor, but he's no longer in the room, so you don't really recognize anyone that's there, aside of course from the bartender. It's this tall elven woman. She has long platinum hair. It's almost starlight with how white it is. It almost gleams in the light of the candles, and she has it braided back, that way it's not going to get in her way, but it's nothing too fancy. And almost a breath of fresh air. She's wearing just very plain clothes, a very plain tunic with a belt that wraps around her waist, and at the end you see this long flowing a deep red skirt that she's wearing, and she's sitting there at the behind the bar, and um, she takes a rag, very dirty from years of working here, and she's working on the ale that was left inside one of the cups, and she's, muttering to herself, I cannot stand when they have these events, because all these men just come in here and they make so many messes. Of course, they make messes, and what do? I clean the messes. I just go and clean the messes. Oh, Eliza, go clean the messes. Oh, Eliza, go do this. Oh, Eliza, go do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't notice you were right there, my darling. How are you? And she lifts her head up, and she finally takes note of you, Nova.
Nova is sort of just eyeing up and down the woman. She seems a bit frantic over her situation. She's going to move to go sit down at the bar, and is like, oh yeah, oh I'm okay, yeah, and she looks behind her at fuck, where is it?
Elzanaya.
Elzanaya. She looks behind her at Elzanaya, sort of ushering her over to come sit by her. And
Elzanaya smiles and sits down. Yes.
Yes. Nova quickly orders a water.
Just a water. Are you sure you don't want something harder? You do seem kind of frazzled, my darling. Are you alright?
Just a water, please.
Alright. And for you, my dear, and she looks over at you, Elzanaya.
I'll have the same.
You don't drink?
Oh no, I do, but I think your thought on having a water is a nice refreshing change for the day.
Oh.
Oh.
I see.
Right.
Nova sort of looks around a little bit uneasily.
Eliza,
you
does
seem
notice.
uneasy, my dear.
You seem...
Is anything troubling you?
just staring at her. You seem uneasy. Eliza does
She
walk
says
away
this
to
in
go
the
grab
most
water.
gentle and welcoming of tones.
A bit easy. Oh, no, I'm okay. She sort of like straightens out her posture, trying to look more calm, but is obviously on edge and almost checking around her shoulder. So are you from around here?
Well, I haven't been here for very long, but I almost feel like it's almost like home. Don't you agree?
A traveler. I see. I mean, I guess I've lived in a lot of places, so nothing really feels like home, except for Alfie. He's kind of an asshole sometimes, though.
Alfie is not at all paying attention to you guys. His head is fully buried in the satchel.
Yes, I can understand that feeling. oftentimes home is something that we must find in the things we take with us, like Alfie or Faith, for me,
Oh,
and I suppose Henry at times.
where'd you meet him, Henry?
Oh, the goddess sent him to me, a lonely and, well, perhaps not quite lonely, but a traveler in need of guidance and I in need of a companion. We were brought together. I found him in the woods one day. And I happened to have some frozen peas on me, and, well, here we are.
Your goose eats peas?
Oh, yes, it's much better than breadcrumbs, which is what people often feed them. Of course, he will. Yes, I know you like your peas, Henry. And he will eat frozen peas and he'll eat crackers as well. That's mostly what's in that little backpack of his. I know you won't let others share. It's fine. And it's just a healthier option for geese and other birds. Most people try to feed them crusts of bread and it'll just get stuck in their stomachs, poor dears.
Don't they die? If they eat
Um,
bread? Or did I just read that somewhere?
Henry, you're fine. You're not going to die. Don't worry. Coming out of character for a second, I honest to God don't remember. I just remember that it is better to give
They,
over bread.
they can, because bread swells up when it touches the stomach acid, which is why we get fuller whenever we eat starchy stuff, because it swells. Starch meaning like potatoes or pasta or really anything that has a mass amount of gluten in it. It's very starchy, so we puff up, or at least it puffs up whenever it touches our stomach acid. It does the same thing for geese, so then they don't eat as much, and then they get very malnourished if they keep eating lots of bread.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, Elsanaya gives exactly that explanation in her very ethereal
Perfect. In her ethereal way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pasta included.
Yeah. Actually, would this be an opportune moment, Sevi, for me to provide the backstory for Henry?
Absolutely.
Or we can say that for later.
Oh, you go at it, Queen.
So Elzaniah is going to share this story in her own way, just kind of casually. But the backstory that I wrote is a bit more objective. And it's I spent way too long on this, I swear. Henry was waddling along in the park one day, out pursuing his usual mischief, when he came across an abandoned dagger on the ground. It was lying near the very still form of a human man. Or was he an elf? A half man? An orc? Henry never paid very close attention to the details of humanoids, unless they had food or shiny things he could take. Whatever the form was, he didn't seem to be very interesting, or to have any food on him. And anyway, Henry was more fascinated by the dagger, which he could only assume had fallen conveniently from the sky for a handsome and dexterous goose like himself to find. As Henry considered the shiny blade before him, a voice spoke from the shadows. The voice whispered things to Henry, offering him new mischief and shiny toys. At the voice's encouragement, Henry eagerly took the dagger by its handle in his beak. The voice must belong to some generous benefactor in the sky, Henry thought, the same benefactor who had dropped the shiny dagger for Henry to find. The whispers led Henry to a humanoid more interesting than most he'd encountered before. This one, tall and elegant, for a humanoid, he supposed, offered Henry some of the most delicious peas he'd ever had in his life. She also gifted him a little bottle of something, which she told him was very important, hung on a shiny silver chain that she placed around his neck. The something, by the way, was water. Naturally, of course, this importance must be to quench Henry's thirst. Upon closer inspection, he determined her to be an elf of some kind. She seemed to radiate grace, generosity, and determination. Elzaniah leaves that bit out of her explanation. She told him she was in need of a continental guide and companion, and who better, of course, than Henry? After all, Henry had pursued mischief in many places, and the fascinating scroll of paper he'd pilfered off a traveler after observing its changing shapes and pictures seemed to be of great use to his new treat giver. Henry agreed to accompany the radiant she-elf on her travels around the continent, sharing his lucky map, as she called it, and his new pouch of snacks with her, and occasionally aiding in her protection with his new trusty dagger. As he began his journeys with her, Henry couldn't help feeling almost blessed. I'll leave it at that. The origin of Henry.
We love that. So was that just explained to Nova?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's that's kind of sweet. Kind of reminds me of how me and Alfie met.
No, it
Oh.
doesn't. Why?
And how did you two meet?
Oh,
Alfie is now looking up a little bit. You see that like one of his eyes are kind of like, he's trying to pretend that he doesn't really care, so one of his eyes are closed, but the other one is staring directly at you, Nova.
Nova notices his gaze, and she looks back at Elzaniah and plays with a strand of her hair. Well, we met on a road, pretty long, dark road, and he just sort of came up to me and talked to me, and then we sort of just kept talking, and it wasn't that weird. But then things got weirder, but it was okay. And then I left the road, and that was how we met.
Stunning.
I see.
Stunning. Not at all crazy. Stunning.
Lore Master, are we familiar with cats talking on the continent, or is that something that Elzaniah would ask about?
That is absolutely something you would ask about, because while Henry is very close to you, Henry doesn't talk. So you have to discern his quacks, and everything that, and again, like Lore Master aside, everything you've heard is not something you perceive, it's something that only Nova can hear. So you are not privy to those conversations. Right. To you, it just looks like she's staring off in the distance, and then starts to pay attention again. So no, you think that it would probably be something that's similar to how you and Henry talk.
Okay.
So everyone just thinks Nova's crazy.
Fine. I've met a lot of
telling people that you talk to cats, so yeah.
I'm sorry, how else am I supposed to explain how you met me?
Just normal cat. Normal cat. You found me in a box. In an alley. You saved me from a burning building. You stole me from somewhere. I was walking down a road, and then he started talking to me, and then more weird stuff happened. Weird stuff.
But that is what happened!
Weird stuff. That's what you had to say. Weird stuff happened.
I'm sorry.
That's
my dear, are you quite well?
Oh, I'm sorry. Was I talking out loud?
Yes!
Oh, only mild mutters. Are you upset about anything? And actually, before we continue, where are my manners? We've properly introduced our companions to each other, but not ourselves. My name is Elzaniah Sombretoile, and yours?
It's Nova. Just Nova.
Nova.
Yeah.
Has something of the stars in it. A lovely name.
Why, thank you. Yours is quite eloquent. It's quite, it's pretty. Yep.
Thank you. It's a sign of my elvish heritage. Our names often have something of nature about them, or eloquence, as you put it.
So, I have a question for you.
Of course.
I'm searching for something.
Oh?
And, you seem like you've traveled far and wide over this continent. Yeah. Have you ever come across a coin.
What
I mean,
the
a small silver
What
coin.
are we doing?
Well,
We
of course,
lost
the
the point.
currency of the
We
land, I
lost
believe,
it.
involves many coins. Could you perhaps be a bit more specific? What kind
Mm,
of coin?
Nova's gonna
Oh,
cast
yes.
minor illusion.
Oh,
Um,
great! We're gonna show her the bloody coin. Great! Great.
and on the table now before them lies a small silver coin with red gemstones circling it that almost look like blood coming out of the coin, and there seems to be a face carved into it. Um the face is angry.
Oh, angry face. Love that. Um,
It sort of looks like this.
Interesting. Elzaniah takes a good long look at it and seems to be thinking for a moment.
As this is happening, you all look down the bar because your water still has not been brought to you, and you see the bartender is standing in front of someone, and she's rather flushed in the face. She keeps laughing, and she's holding on to the rag between two hands, and she's almost fuddling with it. And she she starts getting more and more flustered. She's trying to pull away, but there's a smile on her face, and she kind of she tosses the rag a little bit, but keeps it in her hand, like waving off the person that she's talking to. Oh, you. I think I may owe you a thing of ale for how nice you're being to me. I mean, it's not often that someone is kind to people anymore. I mean, it's so hard these days because of just how rowdy everyone can be. I just wanted to thank you so much for your generosity and just how nice you've been to me. Jess, you ready to introduce us to Nyla? Come on, Pookie, you got this.
I'm
Um,
so excited to meet you.
No, I'm so excited too.
give me 5 to 10 business days.
Dude, it's just us flirting together. It's gonna be fine.
I have an audience, okay? And I don't mean you guys.
God forbid you say things around your boyfriend.
Awkward.
Okay.
We've been doing it for the past hour.
We have.
Come on, you got it. Do you need another minute?
No, I can do it.
You got this.
Got it, Pookie.
Come on, Pookie.
If it helps with the role playing part, you could also just describe the kinds of things that you say without thinking of specific words.
Yeah. Why don't you why don't you just describe what Nyla looks like, and then we'll go from there.
On the other side of the bar, from what's the bartender's name?
Eliza. I have to write that down. I
From
forgot what her name
Eliza is a oddly colored tiefling. She has more of a bluish tint to her skin than the normal pinkish or red. Her hair is shoulder length, red and blue, an odd mixture of colors. obviously drunk as her words slur and her hand flails around with a cup of ale within her hand. That's all you're getting.
You see Eliza reaches forward and she puts a hand over the ale and she like slowly pushes it back towards the counter, sort of like away from Nyla's hands, just, oh yes, 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 I understand, you're very excited, you're very excited. And she sort of is like trying to slowly take it from you without looking like she's taking it from you. And it's not very hard because you are quite drunk, and so she gets it out of your hands and she sort of scoots it further down the tavern or the counter, and she puts a bowl in front of you that is completely empty. It's almost like a bucket of how big it is. And she also puts down a cup of water in front of you. This is for later if you feel your stomach start to hurt. Yes, I know it's going to hurt. In there, please. Please, in there. And here's some water for you. I'm afraid I am going to have to cut you off, my darling, but it's been so wonderful talking to you. And Eliza steps away and she fills up two more glasses of water and she hurriedly scuttles down the end of the counter and she sets the waters down in front of you two again. She's like, oh my days, I am so so sorry. Time just got the better of me. So sorry about that. Might I interest you in anything else? Perhaps a cup of wine, or would you all like a meal, or can I get you something for your companions? Your goose has been quite loud. They are loud in the establishment, I promise.
Um, so can I roll something for being offered wine? Savvy. Papa.
Daddy.
Daddy.
um,
uh, Dungeon
what?
Daddy.
Like in a like in oppose something, as in you want to take it?
Yes.
Yeah, give me. We'll do a roll off. We'll do an opposed. We'll do an opposed thing. Just roll a standard d20, no modifier. Tell me what you get.
Okay. Okay.
Let me find my d20. I got my purple one. Okay.
Ooh, purple. I got a 14.
Alfie got a 16.
Oh.
So a wave of disgust washes over you at the thought of drinking anything, such as wine or really anything that could get you inebriated, and it almost starts to rile in your stomach, and you feel a bit of bile rise up in the back of your throat, and Alfie physically turns again. So he like dips his head back into the satchel and he sticks his paws out so he's like stretching, so he's making the bag look wider and his tail dips into the bag and he's now fully hidden inside of the bag. And the feeling of nausea sort of goes away from you, but it definitely is still lingering there.
No
Hmm.
wine for me, please. I'm good.
But perhaps something for the stomach, I think. Isn't is relying on her knowledge as a healer here, and asks Eliza what her best recommendations might be for the house special. Oh, and yes, perhaps a small bowl of peas if you have them for my friend. Cold if you can.
Peas. I can see if I can find. Oh, hello. Henry looks up behind you. He's now fully sat on the ground behind you, but he realizes that you said peas, so he stands up and he starts flapping his wings a little bit, and he's like fully poking his head out from behind you. So all she can really see are wings, excitedly flapping, and then a little head around your waist. Oh, hello. Okay, I'll see what I can find. As for how special, we did just get in a new round of venison. So it is new. It's not quite as marinated as most people would like, but I can make a stew for you. We do have a nice trout dish. It's roasted. We do have a lot of I have a garden in the back, so I have fresh herbs. And she looks very excited whenever she references her garden, and she starts listing off more specials to you guys, like a bowl of beef that it's like a beef stew that's served in toasted bread, so it's like a bread bowl. And she also looks very excited about that. And they also have the fantasy equivalent of shepherd's pie. And the peas are already put in it, so she could they're gonna be really mushy. She doesn't really have fresh peas anymore because she's already been making shepherd's pie all night. So I guess I could get a little dish of peas for what's his name? He looks so adorable.
This is Henry. That would be
Oh,
wonderful, my
oh
good
my
lady.
days, Henry! What a delightful name. Yes, I will go get those peas for him, and then for you two, what might you like? I know I just kind of rattled off a lot of stuff to you all. I'm very sorry about that.
Elzaniah turns to Nova and with a kind look um suggests that, you know, you look a bit uneasy, my dear. Perhaps something bready for your stomach. That stew, that bread bowl, beef stew sounds like a nice touch. Would that be all right for you?
Yeah, yeah. I think I should have the bread bowl stew. What does it have in it?
So it has a delightful roast that I've been cooking all week. So it's been marinating for quite a long time. There's not the venison, sadly, which I know a lot of people like, but we haven't really gotten any in here again for a while, so that's kind of surprising. But it has a lovely beef that's been roasting. It comes with a stew that I've been making again. So it's got bits of celery, bits of peas, bits of carrots in there as well. And the broth itself is made of bones, like the bone extract. So it's been like once we carve up the meat, we put the bones in there, and it gets all of that delicious flavor that's inside of it. And we also get a bit of like rosemary and thyme, and she starts listing off all the spices that go into it. Again, very proud of her garden.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think you could like
Mhm.
pluck out any peas that you see and then put them into the bowl for the goose?
Oh, absolutely, my darling. I don't mind doing that at all. So you for sure want the beef stew, and for you, my darling, what
Yeah.
would you like? And she looks over at Elzaniah.
The same, thank you. And again, of course, yes, the peas plucked out for my dear friend Henry here, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So the neither of you want peas inside of the dish. You just want them on the side for Henry.
If it's
Uh,
not too much trouble.
yeah. I think Nova's gonna poke at Alfie, see if he wants anything.
Alfie fully swats at your hand, and when you try again to get his attention, he reaches his head up and bites your finger hard enough to draw blood, and you take 1 point of damage.
Oh dear, that looks
Oh,
painful.
oh,
Oh, why don't I
ah,
bandage that up for you?
yeah, sure.
I am a healer after all.
Oh, my dear, are you quite alright? I take it your cat doesn't want anything either. Should I just bring
Hmm.
a bowl of milk? Would that be good?
Ah, I don't know if he's quite into milk these days. Do you have
Oh,
anything a bit stronger for him?
oh, as, um, I have cream. That's not exactly
Ah,
milk. I could broth, maybe? I don't
uh,
really, I
uh,
don't know. I can't really give alcohol to a feline now, can I?
why not?
You want me to serve ale to your cat?
Yes, I do.
Oh, um, okay. Oh, all right. If that's what you want, okay. And she like looks very confused and sort of like looks over the counter at Alfie, and Alfie looks very pleased inside of the bag. This is like the happiest you've seen him in quite a long time. And seeing that pristine look on his face, she slowly turns around. Ale for a cat. Well, that's not the weirdest thing you've done today. And she like waddles all the way back to the kitchen to start working on your meals.
God damn, my finger hurts.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't poke me, but you do. You still poke me. And then you get me ale. What a
But
blessed
don't you
day.
want the ale? Don't you
What
want the
a
ale?
blessed day this is.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Shut up.
That truly does look painful. I am a healer by trade. Would you like me to bandage your finger for you?
Oh, she's
Are
a
you
healer.
are you gonna kiss it?
The paladin lay hands, but you just kiss people.
I mean, there's nothing in the lore saying we can't.
Yeah, you can. I'll permit it.
I just unplugged my headphones. No, don't say anything.
Quick, everyone
Okay,
say
I'm
something.
back,
Quick,
I'm back.
Nyla, do
I'm back.
something.
I'm back.
Uh,
I really appreciate if you kissed it.
Kiss it.
if that is what will make you feel better, dear, the goddess provides in many ways.
What the
And
fuck is
Elzaniah
this?
pulls it.
The goddess. This bitch is
Her
insane.
little-
And you want her to kiss you? Should I just go
Elzaniah
away?
pulls out her little first aid kit and cleans off the finger and gives it a little kiss and puts a little band-aid on it. Well, the equivalent.
Fantasy equivalent of a band-aid. The store
Her
brand.
hands are very soft and gentle, by the way.
Oh.
It is unnaturally soft how gentle her hands are, and again you start to like drift off, and you just start thinking, wow, this woman is gorgeous, and she's so nice, and she's
And
so gentle, so
she
unlike
kissed my finger.
anything you've experienced. She kissed your finger, and you're sitting here thinking about it. My fucking gods,
Get
my
out of my
days.
head. Get out of my head.
Fine. 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 Not gonna hear another thing from me today. Not another thing. And Alfie dips his head back into the bag. He is no longer listening to you.
Thanks for the
Is that
kiss.
better?
Yeah, it feels better.
I'm glad.
You are now healed of your one
So what-
point of damage.
The
For
kiss was
now.
magical. For now.
Oh god. Hey, did you see that the bartender was like flirting with someone?
Oh, I did notice. There seems to be a young. Actually, what gender is Nyla? So
Female.
that we might. What was that?
Female.
Female.
She's a lady.
She's a little lady.
She's a lady. Yes, there just seemed to be a lady, a bit further down the bar who seems to be having a long night. What do you make of that
Sorry.
interaction?
Do you think we should like maybe she wants a kiss on her finger too?
Fuck me.
You know?
Well, I suppose my healing powers might be a bit helpful to someone. Although we are in a tavern, it's not exactly unusual.
That is true.
But
I've been in many tavern brawls.
yes, they can be quite messy.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, and earlier you asked me a question. You showed me
yes.
a particular coin.
Yes, the coin.
Yes, I'm afraid it's not something that I've come across in my travels before. I'm very sorry, but what it seems quite intriguing. I've never seen anything quite like it. What has brought you to look for such a thing?
Well, let's just say I need it. It's important, of great importance, that we need to get this coin. I need to.
That we need to get this.
I suppose, yes. The we is not uncommon. I often find myself saying we in reference to myself and Henry, even though
Yes.
well, Henry
You know.
doesn't need as many things. But Interesting. Well, would you like to go and greet our poor inebriated friend on the
I
other end of the bar?
Where is that damned possum? Mr. Sparkles, where are you? Nyla yells very loudly within the tavern.
And as you all start talking about her, you look down the bar and you see Nyla's looking around. She finally comes to her spoons and she realizes what it is that, she originally came to the bar to do, not fill her cups. And all of a sudden, you hear a loud scream from the kitchen. And out comes Eliza holding a massive possum with a belly so round and so covered in soup, it is dribbling down his front. And sadly, Nyla, the 9 that you rolled this morning, you didn't see Mr. Sparkles all day long. He has just been
Oh,
missing.
Mr.
You've
Sparkles.
heard him. He's been scattering around everywhere. But you really need to clip his nails, by the way. But he won't let you. And you notice that in his skittering, he kind of stopped skittering, and then you couldn't see him for a while. And then you were so deep in your cups, it kind of just left your mind. And then whenever you all of a sudden remember your companion, here comes Eliza. My dear, what have I told you about your rodent? Please refrain from him getting in the kitchen. This is the 3rd bowl of soup I have found him in. It is the 4th pot I have had to clean out entirely. I'm afraid I will have to charge you for this. Please do not let him out of your sight, my dear. And it's very motherly the way that she's addressing you, Nyla. And Mr. Sparkles, the fat ass possum in her hands, looks down, quite dejected, as if he is also being scolded. And she takes her rag and she scrubs it down his front, and she sort of like wipes up all the soup, and his nose scrunches as she really gets in his whiskers because he has bits of bread still stuck in there, and she plops him down unceremoniously on the counter and then immediately goes back to clean out her pot and to continue making food for everyone. And Mr. Sparkles just
Hey, what an interesting choice of companion.
I
Henry
couldn't agree more.
Henry stands up on his tiptoes and he's like looking over, trying to see what was just put down on the counter because he just heard a wet plap, and he just sees a possum he is like fully sprawled out, fully loafed on this counter. He's quite large because he's is indeed very fat. So his tail is laid out on one end of the counter. It's like curled around his body a little bit, and his front legs are out. And he's got his full head just laying down on the counter, so it's like chin and all is just there. He's just a little mound of fur, and he looks very upset. And again, just keeps meow 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 to you, Nyla. No,
Again,
you
Mr. Sparkles.
cannot do that. I'm sorry, fourth wall
Shh.
break. No, I'm making you buy that. You don't already have it.
I will fight you.
I'm not doing it.
You interrupted me, and now I don't want to do it.
I'm sorry. Fourth wall's back up.
I don't even know what I was saying.
Mr. Sparkles is just sitting there staring up at you, Nyla. He's got the sweetest puppy dog eyes, and he's sniffling a little bit. You see his bottom lip start to
That will not work on me, Mr. Sparkles. You should not have been in the soup again. You've cost me money this time. Again.
That
Go
possum
find
just
some
come out of the
trash.
soup.
I think that's what she said, yes.
You see little tears start to run down Mr. Sparkle's face. They kind of like drip from his snoot. They like go into his nose and then drip down onto the counter. His little body starts to shake. He's full on crying right now.
What will I do with you, Mr. Sparkles? Nyla picks him up and kind of pats his back
He
as she plops him over her shoulder.
he lays with his head buried in your shoulder, and his paws, they're not quite large enough to reach around, so they kind of just hold your shirt, and he's fully hiding his face in your chest, clutching your shirt for dear life. It is still just fully sobbing. It's audible squeaks for everyone else, but it is full on sobbing. He's devastated that he can't eat soup anymore.
I think I'll be passing on our dinner tonight.
You see Eliza comes out from the back and she has your bread bowls now, and she sets them down in front of you guys, and she's like, I just want to tell you, because I know that you saw that, this has not been touched by the possum. This is
Can I
completely fine.
can, can I do a check on her?
Yes, you can.
I'll do one too, but it's very subtle.
Okay. Give me,
Is that perception again?
yes, perception.
Okay, perception. Watch me nat 20 this.
I've got a 21.
I got an 11.
21. That's okay. You both see that she looks devastated that more soup has gone to waste, but you can also tell in this moment that she's completely telling the truth. Um, the soup that the possum keeps getting into is a bowl that she already, excuse me, I have hiccups, is a bowl that she already set aside. Like, it's totally wasted, and so she fully planned for this. So she has set it to the side, and the little bowls that Mr. Sparkles kept getting into, she's already cleaned them, disinfected them, put them away. And the rest of the soup has not been touched by Mr. Sparkles, so it is completely fine.
Of course,
And
madam, you seem to run your inn with such grace.
thank you, my darling. I dearly needed that. We'll consider your tab on me, okay? You can tip at your discretion. This is on the house for tonight and anything else that you order. I'm
You are too
I'm
kind.
quite
Thank you, madam.
I'm quite sorry. No need to thank me. Um, this is my fault for letting animals in, and this is an expense that I have planned for. So please just keep them in your sight. And if you book a room with us tonight, um, please leave them in your room. Keep your doors locked at night, and I will do my best to make sure that nothing else happens like this. I am so terribly sorry for the inconvenience, and may you have a blessed day. And she
B-
sets
b-
the bowls down and then runs away.
book a room. That's pretty forward of her to think that we're at that stage.
Oh, well, this is an inn, of course, as well as a tavern. I believe she was simply implying that if we wished to extend our respective stays any longer and book any rooms in the inn, that we might do so, and simply that she hopes we keep our companions where we can see them.
Nova like glances down into her satchel to make sure that Alfie is still there.
As if you need to check on me. Henry is still fully standing right there, and he's still just staring up at you. Um,
Does he
Elzaniah.
have his peas by now?
Yeah, where's his piece?
He does have his peas, but she left them on the counter, so he can't reach them. He's not tall enough. He tried while you all were talking. He kept trying to like get his tongue on the bowl. So like you could just see a little bit of his head reaching towards the counter, but he's not tall enough, so he couldn't reach it. So he's just kind of sitting there and he's just staring up at you with his wings spread in a like a come on thing. Like he's just again he keeps like raising them as in a come on. I'm doing what you wanted. Come on.
Elzaniah takes the bowl of peas and with a graceful hand puts the peas down in front of Henry.
How
Before
about,
you even put them on the ground, he is nose deep in that bowl.
what about Alfie's ale?
She did leave a little saucer of ale, and it is
Okay.
completely full to the brim. I'm not touching that.
Alfie,
I'm not touching that.
why not?
I'm not. Did you see the size of that rodent? I'm not.
There's no way the rodent was in the ale.
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching it.
Do you want me to drink it?
No. Fine.
Then drink your ale.
He sticks his head up a little bit and he stares up at you, and then very slowly he stands up in the satchel. That way you have enough hand space. Because originally he was fully spread out. That way you couldn't touch him. So he stands up a little bit and he gives you enough space to put your hands down there to take him out of the satchel. That way he can stand on the counter. Eliza did make it clear that it's okay for you to do that.
So Nova scoops him out and sets him on the counter.
Alfie lays down with his paws spread, so the saucer is like right between his paws, and he like takes a little sniff, and you see him look over his shoulder. He like turns his body a little bit and he looks behind him, and he stares over at Mr. Sparkles, who is still crying in the chest of Nyla, and he like rolls his whole head, just shaking it, and he slowly turns around and then starts very carefully licking the ale. And then he gets a little more into it. And then he's fully sitting there drinking the ale.
Very quick fourth wall break. I gotta pee, y'all, so I'm gonna be right back.
That's fine. We could take a quick little 5-minute break. We do a little potty break.
Potty break!
Potty break, guys. I gotta go get water, anyways. I also just realized that this thing is so janky that I've had the camera, like OBS has been recording us, so in Discord, not the thing I've had displayed this entire time. So that's great.
Good job.
Thanks. We're a little struggle busting, but that's okay. Alright, I'm taking my headphones off. I need to go get Wawa. Hello, I have returned.
Hello.
I have also returned, and I have no idea what my parents are watching in the living room, but there's like dramatic old timey music and what sounds like swords and possibly explosions. So I don't know what's going on over there.
That sounds fun.
Swords and explosions. I got soup. I'm gonna take a bite of my soup.
Wouldn't that be like more of a slurp than a bite?
No, I got
Is
shit
it
in
Mr.
here.
Sparkle Soup?
Mr. Sparkle Soup.
No, these are soup dumplings and more soup. But I'm taking. Sorry. I choked on my soup. No, it's a bite of soup because I have a breadstick. So I'm dipping the breadstick in the soup.
Ooh. So it's a bite of the breadstick.
And the soup.
And the soup. Okay.
Ah! I spilled some of my soup. See, but the breadstick also has a little bit of space in there, so I can put the soup in the breadstick. How are we
That
liking
just
the
hurt my
campaign
brain.
so far?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Good.
Don't worry, we'll resume in a second. I want to finish my breadstick.
Okay. Also, I hope you know that now there will be official art of Mr. Sparkles sobbing into Nyla.
Yeah, I
want
thought you'd
art
like that
of.
detail.
I want art of. Fuck.
While you're eating your soup and breadstick really quick, I'm gonna refill my water because I did not realize it was almost.
Elizanaya kissing Nova's finger.
Yeah, we just need little moments.
Just like sparkles in her eyes.
She's so excited, and then just in the background you see Alfie just shaking his head.
Henry feels like Gustarian to me.
He's
That's
chaotic
exactly
evil.
what I was thinking.
He's chaotic evil, so I'm trying my best, guys.
Wait, who is?
Isn't geese are chaotic evil?
I think so.
Yeah, he sure as shit ain't
It
lawful.
would make sense.
Yeah. Henry is definitely chaotic. His specific alignment
Yeah, it's just
is
I was
chaotic,
like,
chaotic.
damn, you align your
interpretation.
goose.
Yeah.
Geese are an
He's
actual thing in
all
the
geese
game.
are chaotic by nature, I think.
Yeah.
That's true.
You all can interpret where along the chaotic alignment falls.
Yeah, I hope I'm doing good for all the companions. I'm trying to give them all distinctive personalities.
So far, you are giving Henry the perfect personality, I think.
Good. I was
I
a
feel
little
like
nervous.
Mr.
Trash can
Sparkle's
was a nice
personality has been in development for like a year.
Yeah.
So
Mr. Sparkles is such a
Elsanaya
dumbass.
has the idea for a few years ago, but I never like fleshed out her personality, like her like backstory and everything until like the past week or so, and it's been the most intensive creative writing process I've done. I just took a semester long creative writing workshop, so I'm doing a creative writing thesis, and I put more work, I think, into this
Yeah,
for my thesis.
your thesis is just D&D, and it's the whole lore of what we've been through.
Oh my god, it should be. It should be. Here I am
Also,
writing a
if I have
piss
to,
poor like haunted painting thing.
you know, like if I have to, I will. If I ever have to write a thesis for like a creative thing, mine will entirely be this campaign.
I mean, you should. You could just on your own.
Yeah.
Thank you, and with a cookie. Thanks, Dad. My dad just brought me ice cream though. And he stuck like a Biscoff cookie in the middle.
Well,
Why,
nice.
thank you, Papa.
Mm-hmm. Just for reference, y'all, Publix brand of ice cream has this one particular flavor that's always expensive as shit, but when it's on sale, it's Southern banana pudding, and it is the best
Ooh.
ice cream to exist. You taste it and it tastes like ice cream should, like happiness, and I can't explain further than that, but it's delicious
That's
and I
incredible.
highly recommend.
It tastes how ice cream should feel.
It does. I know.
The Kirklands, so like the stuff that the store brand of Costco, they have really good
Mhm.
it's almond chocolate uh what is it? It's like ice cream. So it's the ice cream that's on a stick and it's covered. It's just vanilla ice cream, but it's covered in chocolate and almonds and it's so fucking good.
You're just a little almond. A
I
little
am
almond
an
boy.
almond. I hate almonds though. Like I love almonds, but they're so bad for the environment.
Are they really?
It takes 10,000 bees to um what is it? No, it's water. It takes 10,000 liters of water to make 1 pound of almonds.
It's a lot of water.
Jesus.
Would
And
have
then
been a lot
it
of beef.
oh yeah, it also has a lot of bees to pollinate everything. But yeah, it takes around 10,000 liters of water to make 1 singular pound of almonds. And Americans consume a lot of almonds. So you can imagine how many millions of liters that is. I dropped an almond. I can't
You
waste
just
that.
wasted
No, I
so
ate
much
it
fucking
immediately.
water.
I ate it immediately.
Henry has zero regard for the 5-second rule, by the way.
Oh yeah,
There, it's
absolutely not.
just you just eat it. I mean, as evident by his trash can.
He's still filthy,
How
by
about
the
that?
way.
I mean, so does Mr. Sparkle, so they have that in common.
Perhaps they'll get along and form an unlikely friendship.
You just see Mr. Sparkles riding
Alfie
on the
hates
back of Henry.
everyone.
Henry's gonna be a terrible influence. I'm just gonna say that now.
On
God damn it.
everyone, even Alfie.
Yeah, on everyone.
I want you to know that Emma, your picture right now, or like your camera, that's exactly how I imagine Henry. Like this is
I
Yeah,
was thinking that
this is
earlier,
what
just a
Henry's
little
doing.
that is Henry.
All right, are we ready to start again? We all have Wawa.
Yeah.
Yes.
Alrighty. So as this grand adventure has been of Nova, you just trying to ask someone to go get a drink, um, of Nyla, you just trying to drink and get your possum back, and of course of Elzanaya of slowly getting your bearings of this area and again getting hold of Henry, who is absolutely filthy still and disgusting. You all start to notice that the tavern is very quiet now as more people have gone outside and the doors have slowly started to close because of the wind. And you notice that a hand reaches out with long, sharpened nails and a bright lilac almost, or rich purple skin pushes the door open. You see a tall man
Oh,
have to bend forward as he steps into the room. And as he walks into the tavern, he stands at full height, nearly touching the ceiling with his curved horns that curl around his face. You see riches, strings of gold hanging from them, and you get the sense that this is genuine. Genuine stones that you see are shining. Oh my goodness, shining brilliantly, as if he has sat and plucked stars from the sky, or for my friends who have seen The Hobbit, the Arkenstone essentially hanging from his horns. You see that he's dressed in a dull black, and it seems to absorb all the other color, but it also reflects the gold that is within the 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 lapels of his jacket. And you see that he has a string of gold again closing his jacket, and he just seems very elegant in nature. And as he stands up, he holds open the door, and you see a woman walk in, and she is of course dressed just as elegantly, with a dress that is from her hips, but the ends of it at where her hips are, you see that it is cinched up, so it's hidden underneath her corset, so it keeps everything off the ground. And you also see that it creates a ripple within the dress itself, and it seems to fit her form quite beautifully. And as she walks in, you see that she is continuously toying with the tips of her fingers. She has rings that are hanging from them, but she makes a point of not touching them as if she's afraid of getting them dirty. And she keeps fumbling with her fingers, almost trying not to pick at her nails, and she keeps looking around kind of anxious as she looks first up at the man that held the door open for her and stands a resounding 9 feet tall. And she barely reaches his right under his pecs. She looks up at him and he sort of gives her a little nod, very subtle in nature, and she takes his arm and they walk over to the back of the tavern and they go and sit down in a little corner booth that is sort of hidden by the staircase, but you can still see them. They make no point of trying to hide themselves, but it is a little bit darker, and you see that as they're walking, he makes sort of a a quiet conversation as he leans quite far down to reach her ear and is whispering to her, and he has a hand on his lower back that sort of dips lower and lower as he trails after her, and he lets her get into the booth first and then makes a point of sitting down at the very end. So he's giving her plenty of space as she sort of sits uncomfortably in the corner, and her arms are at her sides. She has her hands in her lap, and she sits with an unnaturally perfect posture, as if she's not used to sitting for long periods of time, but she's had to quite frequently. And she sits there and she's looking around the room and she looks very uneasy, but she seems comforted by the man who, again, is making a point of spreading his legs and leaning back in the chair with his arms crossed over his chest, pronouncing his broad shoulders. And he sits there and he tips his feet forward so they are stretched all the way across, and he's far too big for this booth, but he still stretches his legs as far as they can. His knees are pressed up against the very top of the table. If he stretched any further, he'd be lifting it from the ground. And he sits with his head tipped back against the very back of the booth that they're in. It's very plush. And he closes his eyes with his head still tipped back, and they're talking quietly amongst themselves. And we'll start at the top of the order with yes, Elzaniah.
Do I notice anything in particular about either of the two or that stone hanging from his horns?
Give me a
Anything that I might
perception check.
chance recognize? Do what?
Give me a perception check.
Fuck, that's an 8.
You don't
God damn
seem
it.
to notice anything too familiar about this guy. You've never really seen anyone who looks like him. Now, he is a tiefling, and uh, like Nyla was saying earlier, it's not common to see a purple tiefling, but it's not uncommon enough. It's not rare, but you just don't see them all the time. And you notice that he is dressed to present something, or at least to appear noticeable. But the longer that you sit and stare at him, the less pronounced he becomes. Like, the more you look at him, the less you feel yourself want to, which is quite strange for someone who's dressed so elegantly. But again, that is the fashion of Irrigan. These two appear as if they could be natives here, or at least they could be native people of importance here, but you're not quite sure. You don't really get a feeling from him. And as for the woman, you are too busy noticing how anxious she appears and how restless she is to really notice anything. But you do notice that there is a specific way that she's braided her hair. And with an 8, all you really notice is that somewhere in the back of your mind, you know that she's native to a place that braids their hair that way, and it's not Irrigan.
Um, yeah. I'm gonna say that Elzaniah just kind of notices them walk in and watches everything you just described and takes note in her mind.
The man appears to notice Elzaniah, and he opens one of his eyes, and he just slowly rakes his gaze from the bottom of her feet up to the top, and he doesn't really say anything. He doesn't have any reaction. He just closes his eyes and sort of shifts in his seat a little bit, just getting more comfortable because he's almost anticipating being there for a while.
Um,
Oh,
does my goddess let me know of anything at this time?
you're not feeling anything. It's really strange because usually you'd notice something, but with that too, you're kind of getting a whole lot of nothing.
Hmm. Okay.
I guess there's nothing there. No.
There's nothing. Like she's thinking about it.
Nova, how about you, my darling?
As soon as they walked in, Nova, and as she spotted them, she slowly, her hand moved to the knife that was held under her cloak by her pants. It was sheathed up on Tuesday, and she's just keeping a close eye on them as she holds her blade. Um, can I ask Alfie if he's feeling anything?
Yeah, of course. So, Alfie, you notice that he stopped drinking his ale. He was about halfway done with it, and as soon as that hand came in, he stopped drinking and he stared quite hard, specifically at the male tiefling. And he just sat there and he watched him, and he sort of looked back over at the girl, and she did appear human. Nothing interesting about her, almost plain compared to him. And he just sat there and he stared at them. But he's not saying anything to you currently.
Mm.
Why do you just keep staring at me?
Huh?
Huh? Huh? Tuh? Why are you looking at me? What's happening?
You see the guy?
No shit, I saw him. Who didn't? He's the size of a fucking Goliath.
Yeah. I'm like up to his knees.
Yeah, you are. Glad
Do
we're
you know
making
him?
observations. Do I know him? No! I just met him. I think I know more about him than you do, since you seem so preoccupied with the pretty lady at your side.
She is very pretty.
And
And did you feel her hands? Holy shit, Alfie.
Alfie physically turns away from you again. Like he backs the thing over, so he like is turning again, presenting his ass to you as he sits back down. So he's facing the back counter. So like the wall of booze that there is, he's facing that, and he's just sitting there slowly drinking his ale again. But you do notice that he keeps looking over his shoulder over at the guy, and you're really not getting a feel from him, from Alfie. I mean, usually I'd say with your connection, he'd let you know if there's danger or if it's safe. And you're not really feeling anything from the back of your neck.
Mm.
Actually, give me a perception check as well. Give me another
Okay, rolling my.
one.
Where are you? There you are.
Another
My
one.
perception. Stop! Don't curse me. Fucking hell! It's a 5.
It's a five. That's better than a one.
Mm.
Yeah, usually Alfie would let you know, or the feeling in the back of your neck, or at least the back of your head, would tell you if it's safe to do something or if it's not safe. And it hasn't really been wrong yet, and you just feel nothing. There is nothing going on there. Like it's almost disturbing the absence of feeling that you have in this moment. And
Mm.
as you look around, you start to feel the tavern sort of has this weight to it. Even if you failed that perception check, you would still feel this. It's palpable, this tension that's in the air. And all the other people seem to notice it because now the tavern, which was already starting to quiet down as the outside gets louder, you start to notice that everything's just getting a little quieter. And people are starting to look around, and everyone took notice of the guy that walked in because who couldn't? And they start talking to themselves again. You see Eliza come out, and she starts tending to all the tables, and she walks over to the table, and she sort of looks back at seeing someone so utterly massive, and she steals herself, grabs her little notebook, and she walks right over with her quill. And you can't hear the conversation from this far away because she is very quiet in nature, but she stands in front of them, and you see the man doesn't really react to her being there, and you see the woman that's sitting in the booth. She writes herself, and she again is ferociously messing with her hands, and you can just see it in the way that her shoulders are moving, that she can't quite sit still, and her face gets a little flushed, and she sits there, and she rattles off something to Eliza, and Eliza turns and then walks back into the kitchen.
Oh, I forgot to ask, Lore Master, does Henry, with his passive perception, potentially guided by his blessing, does he notice anything?
Henry's getting a whole lot of nothing. He's so into those peas right now, you guys. He cannot get enough
Gotcha.
of them. His face is just covered in peas.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Nyla, how about you? And the crowd goes silent. No.
Sorry.
It's
I was
okay.
having an argument.
Oh, my fault.
Emma, your picture looks like a corn
That's
cob.
Henry's note.
Yeah, Henry's just sitting there going to town on those peas. And Mr. Sparkles did stop crying.
He stopped crying.
Finally, yeah. But you're not really sure if it's because of the.
Talk to you people.
You're not really sure if it's because of the tension that's in the air or if just because he cried himself out. He's got no more tears.
Okay. Okay. Think that's all for the interruptions.
Never done with the
Oh my god.
Well, would anyone else like to do something?
Please help. Anyway. Nyla still being very intoxicated. Did not notice for some ungodly reason.
I'm trying to picture the space with where the two have sat down relative to where Nova and I are and to where Nyla is. If I were to get up and walk to the end of the bar where Nyla is, would I pass the two strangers on my way?
No, they are on the other side. So, say for example, if you're like, excuse me, if you're looking at this picture, because we're saying that this is a tavern, they're sitting like right over here. The end of the tavern or the end of the bar is like right here, because back here is going to be the kitchen, and somewhere right here is going to be stairs that go up to the second level. So they're sitting like right here in that corner. You guys are like right here at the front, because like this looks like the front door. Um, or at least somewhere in this area is going to be a front door. So you all are sitting right here. Stairs go right there. They're sitting right there in that corner.
Okay. But if we went over there, we would be closer to them.
Yes, you would be hearing distance. So you could hear, like, if something was being said, but you're not really going to see them all that well. Because the stairs are going to block your way. You can see them through the railing, though.
Elsanaya is going to turn to her new eating buddy and um in an effort to kind of like ease the sudden subtle tension in the air and the quietness of conversation, cheerfully suggest, why don't
Oh,
we go and take a look at our inebriated friend over there? I think maybe she could use some company.
I 100% agree with you. Let's scooch on over.
Come along, Henry. Yes, you can take your piece with you.
Henry looks very excited as he picks up the lip of the bowl. So it's like just hanging a little bit. He's eaten so many peas that it's like it's not a concern that it's gonna fall, but it's like little kids holding cups of like kibble, like of how they hold it just so precariously. They have no perception that if it's in the cup, it can go out of the cup. Henry is holding the very lip of the container, and he starts waddling over.
And he waddles away, waddle.
Very nice.
Nova's gonna scoop Alfie up once again by under him, his little legs dangling, and she's gonna grab the small saucer of ale and walk over to Nyla.
So as you two get up with your respective animal companions, you can't help but notice that the man opens his eye again and he looks over at you, Nova, and he stares directly at your cat. He is staring at Alfie. He doesn't say anything, but he does open up his other eye, and he almost does a wink, but it's very, very subtle. To the point that you think you mistook what you just saw. And he closes his eyes again, and he arches his body so it's lent more towards his companion and less towards the room. So it's almost as if his back is to the room just a little bit.
V.
What?
Did you see that?
No? Was I supposed to say something?
I swear that guy just was staring you down.
Staring me down. I would have felt it if he was staring me down. I didn't feel anything.
He was staring you down. I don't know.
No, he wasn't. I would have felt it.
You would have felt
I
it.
would have felt it. You're a child. You are a child.
I'm positive.
Well,
I'm positive.
I'll keep a look on him then. But I did not feel anything. I would have felt it if someone was staring at me. And I didn't feel anything.
Nova's sort of gonna look at her eating buddy. Is that what we're calling them? Her eating buddy. And then to Henry. And look at him carrying his peas and have a weird temptation in her to like knock the bowl of peas over, but she refrains.
Give me a roll.
Just a regular roll.
Give me a wisdom saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw.
DC 15.
Oh, please roll. I swear to God. My dice is cursed. I swear to God.
What's your modifier?
8. It's 6 plus 2. It's an 8.
So as that thought flicks in your head, you lose all control. And as Henry just comes waddling over, you kind of just move your knee a little bit to the side, and he's not at all paying attention. And he runs right into your leg. And to others, it looks like you would have just done a step and he sort of ran into your leg. But you know what just happened. And you watch as this bowl of peas goes flying out of Henry's mouth, lands on the ground. And he looks utterly devastated that he just tripped. And he like scrabbles on the ground with his wings spread. and he is sitting there nipping at every single pea. They're mushy, so they're not going to go far, but he's nipping at every single pea and just licking the ground.
Wait, what just happened?
Oh, Henry, did you drop your peas? Oh, you poor thing.
He is completely ignoring you both, and he's just sitting there getting the ground. He's gonna get every single pea.
Yeah.
Elzanaya is gonna. Sorry. Elzanaya is gonna look at Nova and the possum after, and as she's, raising her eyes from Henry on the ground to look at Nova, her eyes do pass over the two strangers through the railing. But she's gonna turn to Nova and resume her ethereal, holy composure, and say something more eloquent than I can think of right now, but along the lines of, is it evening? What time of day is it?
It's morning still. It's closer to noon now.
No, we're gonna stick with good day. Good day, madam. I'm very sorry to disturb you, but we couldn't help noticing you sitting here with your companion all by yourselves, and we thought we might come and join you. Maybe sit down?
I want to make a quick
Who?
note. Elzanaya, whenever you look over at the two, you notice that the man didn't react to you looking, but you did lock eyes with the girl, and she straightened her pose and kind of looked you over real quick, and then turned her head really quick. Like, she turned to face the man that she's with, and she tightened the grip of her hands beneath the table. And you could see, again, in her shoulders, like, the way that her body is flexed right now.
Okay. Is there anything about my particular background knowledge that this would clue me into?
I will say that because of your background, you are quite familiar with death and the stench that other people don't notice. It is wafting from that corner, but you don't know who it's from. It is heavy, and you get a sense that as familiar as you are to it, they are more intimate with it than you can perceive, than you even have knowledge of.
Interesting. Okay, thanks.
Mr. Sparkles notices the you four approach, and he lifts his head and he looks over at you guys, and then makes a point of digging his head back into Nyla's chest, and then resumes crying. Just there no tears, but he does make the inhale quiver, and his body is shaking again.
Nova is still standing, looking at Henry's peas that he's collecting off the floor, and she sort of stares at her leg. A wave of discomfort flows through her before she looks back at Nyla and the possum, Mr. Sparkles. Is that thing real?
Real subtle. Real subtle.
Excuse me?
You're rat on your chest. You're rat.
He's not a rat. He is a possum. Are you blind?
Mr. Sparkles is trying
think-
even harder.
I think my friend merely meant to say that that's an unusual companion that I believe we are both unfamiliar with. At this tavern. Does he have a name?
It's Mr. Sparkles.
A wonderful name. Does he sparkle?
Not really.
Only when he
Has more of a
cries.
stench of trash to him.
Just like
Yes,
the case.
well, Elzaniah gives a meaningful look down at Henry.
He
The
is
stench
still
of trash is quite
licking up them
common.
peas.
Yeah, he's not paying attention, but anyway, Elzaniah is gonna be much more elegant than I am right now, but she's gonna introduce herself. I am Elzaniah Sombertoile, and this is a newly acquainted friend of mine, and she kind of gestures at Nova, encouraging her to introduce herself.
It's Nova.
Saucy.
That's
Doesn't look
it.
like I care. But I suppose I am Nyla.
Who's gonna stick up your ass? Henry does.
Yeah, he's there. He's the one who shoved it up there.
Yeah. Oh, that's Henry, by the way, the goose. Don't mind him.
Henry.
The poor dear
And
is quite attached to his peas.
Not an intelligent creature, is he?
Well, the goddess provides all of us with many qualities of different nature depending on our particular role in the world. Henry's
Goddess.
gifts are different.
Few and far between. You see, Henry has licked up all of the peas, but he still thinks that there's more, so he just keeps licking the ground. Because it still tastes like peas, so he's trying so hard to make sure that he gets all of them. The floor is just wet now because of how much he's been licking it.
He mopped the floors.
This is the cleanest that the tavern has looked in so long, and it's just because Henry has made a trail from where you all are to where you all were, just licking the ground.
Nova's gonna glance behind her again to look at the tall man.
So from where you're standing, you can only see a sliver of him. And
Okay.
It's just through the cracks of the stairs, because they're blocking you currently. So like one of the walls
Yes.
of the booth is the staircase. So you just see a little bit of him, and he's still just sitting there. Arms still crossed, head still tipped back. He does not open his eyes or react to you staring.
Hey, Elzaniah.
Yes.
You got a goddess. Yeah? That's what I'm catching on.
Yes, I serve my goddess faithfully.
You sense anything weird about that guy?
Oddly enough,
Give me a religion check.
religion check. God,
Yeah.
let me check. Yeah, I was gonna. Character sheet. I feel like that should be higher. My modifier, but okay. God damn it. Oh. That's a nat one. God damn it. Natural 3 if you like, but
Yeah, that helps.
Oh.
You're
Damn
sure
it.
not getting anything.
No.
Nothing.
No. Oddly enough, at this time I can't say that I notice anything, but he is quite strange.
I agree.
Naturally told.
Thanks, Alfie, for pointing out the obvious.
Thanks, Alfie, for pointing out the obvious. More perceptive
Who
than you
the
are.
hell are you talking to?
What? No one. I'm not talking to anyone.
Subtle.
He gives me a weird vibe. I don't know.
What about you, Nyla? Do you sense anything about the newest strangers to enter this tavern? There's
Does
a
it
better
look
way to
like
word
I
that.
care about the people who enter this tavern? I only care about what enters my cup.
Shit, I like
Good
that.
point. Although it seems to me that what enters your cup doesn't seem to do you much good apart from that water. I must ask, as a healer, are you quite well?
What do you mean by well?
So, no. Got it. Another crazy person for us to talk to. This is so enlightening.
Alfie!
What? They can't hear me. You can't. So shut up.
I simply meant having such a number of drinks in one sitting when one seems to be by oneself. I don't know. Could you perhaps use a drinking companion or someone to talk to?
Preferably not.
I can understand that. Well, my friend and I won't trouble you any longer. I feel like
Mr.
there's got to be
Sparkles.
something.
Mr. Sparkles sits up from your grasp, Nyla, and again, because of how deep you've been in your cups, you can't really stop him, so he scrambles onto the table, or onto the counter. He walks over, and so unceremoniously, and without coordination, kind of slips off the counter and lands on his side on the ground, like right on your foot, Elzaniah. And he kind of like puts his hands on your boot and like sort of gives a little pat as an apology, you think, and he just goes right tip tapping over to Henry. His little tail is swaying as he walks over to Henry, and Henry is still licking the floor. And as Mr. Sparkles goes up, he sort of like nudges the goose with his body, and Henry finally stops licking the floor, and he looks over and he sees this massive rat. And he sort of gets a little startled. It makes like a little noise, and he sort of rustles his wings a little bit, and thank you. And he like tips his head back to make himself look bigger. And Mr. Sparkles kind of lays and plops on the ground with his back leg spread and his front leg spread. So it almost looks like he's trying to make a star on the ground, but he doesn't know what those look like. So he kind of just flopped on the ground. And Henry, after a moment of silence, lays down, and you see his back leg spread, and he lays with his long neck on the ground, and his head curls over, and so he's nose to nose with Mr. Sparkles.
Are they communicating?
Yeah, the language of dumbasses.
All animals are such surprising creatures at times. It does seem like my sweet Henry has grown fond of your Mr. Sparkles, or that they seem to be making some kind of friendly acquaintance.
Wonderful.
Nova is going to
Don't you dare put me on the ground. I'm not leaving this satchel again. You put me back in the satchel, and you do not put me on the ground.
Nova is going to scoop Alfie up and put him in the satchel. before she starts walking towards the tall man. Fuck this. I gotta go talk to him.
Why? Why are we
He's
going
so
to talk to
tall! He's so tall!
Why? Why is that the defining factor for you to go talk to people? Oh, she's pretty. Oh, she has a goose. Oh, this one, whatever. This one's tall.
You're one to talk. Have you seen yourself?
I'm a cat. What is it to see? What is it to see?
I was just like mumbling to herself.
As you walk closer to the table, the tall man notices you and he opens his eyes and he makes a point of looking at your satchel and then slowly looks up at you and he doesn't say anything. And the woman that is sitting beside him has sort of scooted further away from him and deeper into the bench.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd better go
Nova's gonna sit down next to the girl.
So you're gonna sit on the other side?
Yep, I'm
it's
sitting.
It's like one of those U-shaped booths.
Oh, it's a U-shaped? Okay,
Yeah,
like towards the middle? Or
yeah,
where is
she? So she is in the deep middle, so she's
Yes.
still close to the tall man, but because it's a U shape, you would have to sort of step over his feet if you wanted to go close to her, but you can sit down there. You're just on the other wall, so you're parallel to the tall man.
I'm parallel. Can I like smoothly slide closer to her?
You can certainly try.
Nova is going to attempt to slide smoothly across the bench to where she is close to the lady and just like put her elbow on the table and like Flynn Rider's smirk.
Yeah.
The smolder.
The smolder.
You're gonna smolder her.
Nova is going to smolder this lady.
Nova is not very smart, is she?
No, she's not. So as you go to sit down, you notice a boot comes up from the table and very quickly presses itself against your body, pinning you to the side of the bench. And you cannot move further than where you're sitting. So you are completely in front of the tall man, and his boot is in your lap, holding your abdomen. And the way that it's holding it is your satchel is pinned, so the lip of it is pinned to your front, so Alfie cannot escape that bag. And he finally, you look over, because you were fully intending on going close to this woman, and you see her expression morph into horror. And she quickly slides over to the other side, and she reaches a hand over and touches his arm. And he does not look away from you. He is staring directly in your eyes. No one has said anything.
Excuse me. I couldn't help but notice that you two were a lovely couple. Sir, would you mind moving your lovely foot off my fucking lap?
You see that he starts to grin. It's a very open mouth, almost Cheshire grin. And you see that his canine teeth are quite sharp, much sharper than you perceive other tieflings to be. And the woman, again, her hand is on his arm. She can't quite wrap her whole hand around his forearm, and she just squeezes. And very slowly he moves his boot from your lap and slams it on the ground, making a resounding thud. And he again does not look away from you.
Can I roll a perception on those teeth?
Yes, you can.
Happening at this point in time, Elsanaya is going to walk over, or at least start to walk over.
I got a 12.
Same with Milo.
12? What is it you're trying to know?
Is he a vampire? The canine? I mean, he still could be.
You don't get the
Is-
feeling that it's because
Okay.
he's a vampire, because it's his top teeth
Yeah, okay.
and his bottom teeth. So it's
Okay.
not just one.
Is he a
And-
shark?
No, because the rest of his teeth are normal. It's just his canines that are very, very sharp. But they do
Okay.
look normal. It's just the point is a lot sharper.
Okay. That was what my perception of his teeth was.
So, Elzaniah, as you start to approach, you see the woman is again squeezing his arm to the point her knuckles turn white. She is clutching onto him. And she looks over at you, quite rattled, and she looks back at her companion, and very slowly, he looks over at her, and he just gives a little nod. And she finally just breathes a sigh of relief and sits up, and she's no longer holding him, and she puts her hands back in her lap, and this time she is deeply picking at her nails.
This is gonna happen in like a split second before I speak, but can I make another either perception or religion check to see if I, now that I'm closer to them, if I notice anything in particular about either one of them?
Yeah, you can roll for either. You don't have to tell me. Just tell me what the number is.
That is a 12.
You're not really feeling anything. Even as you get closer, you do feel the air get heavier, and again, that stench of death is much stronger. But as you get closer, you start to discern who it's coming from, and it is indeed coming from the tall man. The woman, she looks in horror over at Nova, but you get the feeling that it's not because of the man that she's with. The company she keeps is not what's putting her so on edge, but you're not sure what it is. And as for the tall man, you can't read him. There's something about him that's just blocking you.
Okay.
You see the woman, she rights herself in her seat, and she takes a very long breath as if calming herself down, and she looks over at you, Nova, and she's slowly, not slowly, but she does start to speak, and her voice is quite quiet, almost meek, as if she's not used to speaking to strangers. And she looks at you and she says, I'm dearly sorry for my friend here. He's not used to other people, and he is lacking in certain manners. I'm sorry, why have you come over to speak with us?
I'm gonna be honest. You were looking. You were looking pretty fine. You
'Cause
know?
she ain't very intelligent.
You know?
What my friend, I think, means to say, we're very sorry, sir and madam, for disturbing you, but we did happen to notice that we ourselves are new in this area, and we were wondering where strangers such as yourselves might have come from in such an extraordinary manner.
Extraordinary.
And I give like the most calming, gentle expression I can muster to the woman.
She seems relieved that you seem relieved, and she stops picking her nails, and her hands, you can't see, but her hands lay splayed on her thighs, and she scoots forward, like she leans closer to the table, closer to you, Elzaniah, and she seems to like you best because she has stopped fiddling with everything. And she goes, we are new in town, and we we heard about the festival, the celebration of the blue moon, and she looks over at the tall man. He gives her another nod and kind of lifts his hand. So the way that his hands are, he sort of lifts his hand as if to encourage her to speak up. And we we wanted to come and see what all the splendor was. And you see the tall man reaches over and he lifts his hand and he sort of waves for her to stop. And he sits up and crosses his hands over his arm, crosses his hands over his chest again. And he goes, "She was excited and wanted to come and see the Blue Moon Festival, and I don't really much give a shit. And I would respectfully not really give a shit about continuing this conversation. So you," and he looks over at you, Nova, "if you're done, I don't know if you even consider this flirting, but talking with us, I'd much appreciate it if you left her alone and moved away." And you get a feeling in the back of your head that you always do, and it screams danger. And he again is just staring at you.
I'm gonna say that Elzaniah, before Nova can say anything, gives like a graceful almost bow and kind of gently takes Nova's arm and goes, "Of course, sir, we wouldn't want to interrupt your meal any further. But by any chance, if we could only get a name, any name will do, and then we will be on our way. We're very sorry to disturb you."
You see, as he... Sorry, give me 1 second.
I also think you may have cut out for a second. Also, you named a festival, but the connection kind of cut for me, and I didn't quite catch what it is. Do we know what this festival is that you mentioned?
Celebration of the Blue Moon. Why is this not working the way I want it to? Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. I had to refresh some shit. Technical difficulties. There we go. So, you see this tall man. He looks over at you. And finally, he sits up again and he goes, "My name's Dorian.
God.
And I'd appreciate it if you controlled your friend better, because you seem to know her well enough to know that she shouldn't be around here. So, if that's all, and we're just doing introductions, that's it. I'm Dorian, this is my friend, I don't really care about who you all are."
Wonderful.
That is fine by me.
Fucking excuse me? Ain't no way you gonna come up in here, putting your shoe on me, and then talk to me like I'm shit?
I'm
No,
sorry,
Elzaniah is
are
pulling
you,
at your
or
arm
are
so
you not the one
gracefully.
who just came over here, sat down unprovoked at our table, and then started speaking to her as if you knew her, said she looked fine, and then deigned to grace us continuously with your presence, which we didn't want. And you see the woman, like, puts her hand on his arm again, and she's like, "No, Dorian, it's okay, I promise, it's fine, I don't really mind, they seem nice, maybe they could help us, possibly, we talked about this, you can't really be mean to people anymore, you know, we're working on
Are
that."
you in need of assistance, my lady?
And Dorian looks over at her with just such annoyance. And she goes, well, yes, if you all are at all possible to give us assistance.
Absolutely not.
I am bound to my goddess to provide assistance wherever it may be needed. Please tell us of your plight. And I kind of like sit down and like put in a hand very firmly on Nova's arm to kind of keep her there. My perfume smells excellent, by the way.
She does take note of it. She does take note of it, and she again seems to calm down. And she goes, well, you see... Oh, shit. There we go.
Ooh.
She says, well, my name is Cornelia, and... I'm not really sure about your goddess, but we, are in need of assistance. Oh, this is so hard to talk about. I am... And Dorian again waves his hand and he goes, she's cursed. And I can't fix it. So now she wants to find some random person to try and fix it. So that's what she needs help with.
Well, my lady Cornelia, I am a holy healer, bound to my goddess. Perhaps if you could tell me more of the nature of this curse, I might be able to help you, or some of my knowledge may be able to at least point you in the direction of the help that you need.
Well, and you see that she tenses up again at your mention of a goddess. And she goes, well, you see, it's hard to talk about. Most people don't believe me whenever I say it, and I fear that it may have something to do with a god as well.
I see. Well, I am open to listen to your plight, my lady, and not all to do with gods or goddesses is necessarily bad, or I don't know. There's a more eloquent way to say what I'm saying, but basically, you know, don't worry, babe. It's fine. I'm here to listen. Babe. I'm here to help.
We got
you, babe. And I say this in like the kindest, warmest way.
Give me a perception, or not persuade. Give me a persuasion check. There we go.
Okay, let me check my. By any chance, could I roll that again because it landed really badly on my table?
Yeah, that's fine. Like a cock?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm using a terrible surface. It's just... There we go. That is a 21.
So... Emma just saw you moving. You see that she seems very comforted by your words, and she scoots closer to Dorian, and she waves her hand for you all to join her at the table, and she waits for you all to get settled if you at all want to sit down.
I think the two of us are already sitting. I don't know if Nyla wants to sit. Also, have Henry and Mr. Sparkles joined us?
They've gotten closer, but they are just enraptured by one another.
Okay.
Nyla does join them, but it's a bit awkward because of her giant wings.
Yeah, they sort of have to like fold in to one another, and like you practically have to sit on them. But yes, you are like sitting on top of your wings, and you take up almost as much room as Dorian's leg would. Because again, he's just that big. So as I have to change the music, I'm sorry. These words are.
I was gonna say, can you please change it?
Is that epic battle music?
Hold on. Yeah, it is.
The music was like ramping me up.
Yeah, y'all are gonna get there in a fight with Dorian. This is better. Okay.
We would not survive.
No, you wouldn't. I don't know if you noticed, but right here says what they are. There's nothing for hit points on Dorian.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so you don't know how many hit points he has. So as you all sit down, Cornelia puts her hands on the table and she like folds her fingers, so she laces them together and she sits her hands down and she okay. Well, you see, how much do you know of the Great Calamity? And she's looking at you, Elzaniah.
I mean, I know. I'm quite familiar with the terrible events, my lady. Why do you ask?
Well, you see, I have a theory about what happened with the Great Calamity, and no matter who I've gone to or who I talk to about it, no one seems to believe me. Um, how about you, your friends? How much do you all know of the Great Calamity? And Nova, the Great Calamity rings a bell in your head because of your upbringing, but you never really paid attention to your parents talking about it. You do know that, you know, your father made a great big deal about the Great Calamity and how it fucked over the nation and how it has continuously ruined his business with traveling and exploring. But you also know that the Great Calamity was so long ago that, excuse me, you never really paid attention because you thought he was just making it up, or that it didn't really have lasting repercussions. But you do know something of what she's saying. You just don't have specific details. And Nyla, you just didn't care enough, and your family never really talked about it. Because it never really had an impact on you. And in passing, people do reference holidays of celebrating, victories past the Great Calamity, and you hear in passing a lot of people saying, like, a common wish is, like, if you wish someone good health, is to wish someone an avoidance of calamity. So you know that it has good significance with a lot of people, especially where you're from, but you don't know really anything about it.
Wait, so yeah, what do I know? Like the whole history? Because I'd assume.
Yes, your goddess has told you everything about the Great Calamity.
That's
And
it.
yeah.
And I've studied history extensively by this point.
Yeah, so you've probably studied other people's recordings of the Great Calamity. So she sits down and seeing all of your reactions to it, she realizes that some of you know a little more, some of you know a little less, so she is just going to give you a basic overrun of it. So, a long, long time ago, this music, sorry guys, it's killing me.
A boss battle.
Yeah.
Oh look, it's Nyla's theme.
So, basically, so the Great Calamity was something that occurred a very long time ago. It was the one pivotal moment that drove the entire kingdom of Irthe together, or the continent of Irthe together. And it was the only event that really let everyone work together. It was when the great surges of famine and pestilence were running quite rampant. The demons of pestilence and famine were running quite rampant, and so as a means to defeat them, the followers started to pray to their goddess to bring her forth into our realm of existence. And a lot of people argue against it. She starts to ramble a little bit about other recollections and other people's arguments, and Dorian raises his hand to stop her. She goes, "Oh, sorry, I get quite excited. Basically, the noble men of the kingdoms all rounded together to defeat this evil surge that was brought forth from the..." And Dorian raises his hand. "I think you forgot some parts." "Oh, yes! Okay, so, a great ritual occurred a long, long time ago, and that brought forth a demon, when people were attempting to bring forth a goddess instead. And so when they brought forth a demon, all of the great nations rallied together to defeat the demon, and in doing so, they sealed the demon away, and now the world is fixed. However, my theory is that the world is not fixed, and my theory is that because I have a goddess in my ear whispering to me that it is not fixed, and the world is going to crumble again if I don't do something about it.
What goddess is this, my lady, who speaks to you?
I'm afraid I cannot say.
Of course, to speak the name of my own goddess would be heresy amongst my belief and her followers. I understand such reluctance. When did these insights begin coming to you? What kinds of things does your goddess inform you of?
And Cornelia looks over at Dorian, and he's got his elbow on the table, so he's holding his head up, and his eyes are closed, and he looks so uninterested in the conversation. He just waves his hand because he can feel her looking at him, so he waves his hand for her to go on. And Nova, you start to feel something in the back of your head. Give me a perception check.
Rolling perception!
You got so loud your mic broke.
This song pops up at all the right times.
Literally at the perfect time.
Who's that?
12.
Capybara. A 12.
14!
14.
14! 12 plus 2, 14!
So you feel in the back of your head this pressure start to come up, and you see visions of the Great Calamity. You see bodies littering fields. You see grasses turn red with blood. You have never seen something more, for lack of a better word, calamitous than this. You can taste how the air had changed, where shores taste of salt and of fresh beginnings. You feel death rest on your tongue as you look and see bodies upon bodies rotting and decaying on top of the ground. And you see this monstrous form of veils almost peering through the clouds. And you see the red take form of a beast that slowly lifts itself from the ground. And you see lightning strike in the distance, and you feel an explosion on your skin, and it turns ice where you figure it would be hot. It is cold, terribly cold, to the point you could feel your breath catch in front of you, and you see it fan out, and you see ice start to crawl across the ground, and the more Cornelia talks, the more you start to see it, and you hear a voice in the back of your head say, "Ah, what a wonderful time." And you are eerily reminded that company you keep is not good. And you get a feeling that you know more than you should, and that someone isn't telling you the truth. That something about this event is important, but you don't know why. And you get the feeling that someone has been lying to you, and you don't think it's Cornelia, and you don't think that it's Alfie. And the more you start to think about that, the less you are pinned to this reality of seeing the rot and decay, and seeing it's not hope, because you don't see anyone alive. In fact, you are so focused on death, you feel the absence of light itself. And the world turns red for you. And slowly you feel pause tapping on your arm in a way that no one else can see, but your hand is now on top of Alfie, and you feel his paws just hitting you continuously. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. You're not there. You're here. Wake up. I saw it too. Don't worry.
What was that?
We'll talk
Alfie,
about it.
it's happening again.
We'll talk about it later.
Fine.
And you are brought back to the tavern as more people start to walk in, and it starts to get lively again. You see Cornelia looking over at you, and she has her hand stretched out as if she wants to put a hand on your arm, but she chooses against it and sort of rests it on the table. Is everything alright?
I think I need some fresh air. How about you guys? It's a bit hot and stuffy in here, and she like tries to push past Nyla, who sat down after her, trying to get out of the U-shaped table, and she's like crawling on her lap. Excuse me. Excuse me.
If you crawl on my lap one more time.
I think some fresh air would do us all some good, don't you think, Dorian? And he shakes his head no, but he still is actively getting up from the table. And with where he's positioned, he has to like keep his head at an angle, like arched down, because if he stands up all the way, he's going to hit his head on the roof. And so he steps out from the booth and like gestures for her to come along. I guess we're going to get fresh air.
Loremaster.
Yep.
Did Elzaniah pick up on anything from the last few minutes?
Give me a religion check.
Let me double check that stat again.
I'll be right back. I have to pee so bad.
Potty break.
Yeah, I have to go on a potty break too. I'm sorry.
Okay.
We'll resume in a second. The DM did not plan accordingly.
I'm gonna take a potty break too, actually.
Have fun in that body break.
I'm gonna have so much fun. Thank you.
I have returned.
Hello.
So, oh, is the Sevi back?
Thing just snuck up on me.
Hello.
Snuck
Hello.
up.
What's the song currently playing?
Let's see.
Is it what I think it is? It is what I think it is.
Alrighty, where were we? Ah, yes, religion check.
Wait, we're waiting.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think all of us are here yet.
Yeah.
So are you gonna do the thing where you, at the end, you show all our characters and whatnot that you were telling me about?
Oh. No, I was saying if you all want me to do it like this, I'll do that.
Yes.
So I haven't done it yet, so I'll have it ready by next campaign. Or not next campaign. Next session.
3 years later.
I am returned.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks. Here, let me do that check.
Yes.
What was my bonus again? That is an 18.
So you don't see exactly what Nova saw because it came to her more so as an intrusive thought, but you do know what it is that Cornelia is talking about, as you've seen similar images from your goddess and dreams that you've had, so you do know in sickening detail what the calamity is. And you know it more so as a tale of hope and of the trying to think of how I want to phrase this for you. You see it as great death and great dishonor that such suffering was brought to people, and you almost feel anger from thinking about it again because of how much suffering the kingdoms had gone through, and the point that it took for people to reach of such utter desperation that they sought out the gods and received a demon instead. You see it as hope of faith returning to people, that they're still worshiping the gods, but you also see it as a great betrayal of people, and it sort of turned you closer to your faith.
That tracks. Do I sense any kind of connection for Cornelia or her companion to my faith or anything like it?
No, but you do feel that anger. No. You feel the desperation, that palpable sense of pleading that you once felt when you first saw those to Cornelia. It's almost a one-to-one, in a way that it's not someone who looked back in time. This feels more intimate than that, but you aren't sure why.
Like, desperation, like, I can sense that she feels the same desperation that I once felt.
So, when you saw what happened in the Great Calamity, you also were very close to how other people felt, and that feeling you also feel from Cornelia in a way that you've never felt before. Where, like, even people who go through poverty feel for other people going through poverty. This isn't that. It's more empathy than that. A lived experience, if you will.
Okay.
So as you all stand from the table, Dorian takes the very back of the group as you all walk through the tavern. Henry does rush over to your side, and you see Mr. Sparkles immediately rushing behind him, going over to Nyla. Henry does run straight to your legs, Elzaniah, and he looks quite satisfied with his meal of peas. And he doesn't really make much noise as you all walk. He doesn't really argue. He just goes right to your legs. Mr. Sparkles does the same thing for you, Nyla, as you all walk out of the tavern. And again, you turn and see that Dorian has to crouch quite comedically low to get out of the tavern. But he closes the door behind him and he stands at full height. Almost because there is, of course, an awning above him, so he, like, looks up and then ducks down again and then walks forward a little bit more, and then now he is standing at full height. And you see that the crowd that had gathered in front of the town hall, by now the doors are open and the music is much louder, and you see the crowd has divided itself into a massive circle, and you see in the center there is a tall tabaxi woman who is holding the ends of her dress and is dancing with the music. She's bouncing around. She, of course, has foregone shoes, and she's holding the skirts of her dress, and she's dancing and beckoning others to join her, and you see other women holding their skirts. They throw their shoes in the air, not caring where they landed. They rush over to join her, and you all know this as none other than Sandcast Finbrack, one of the leaders of Irrigan. You all recognize her because she, of course, personally greeted you as soon as you walked in. She doesn't know all of your names, but she does make a point of meeting with all the people. She loves getting to know everyone. You can see it in her large orange eyes that she's having the time of her life as she's dancing. She's laughing. If people start to sing, she's singing along with them, and of course she doesn't know the words, so she'll laugh as she fumbles over her words, and she clutches the hands of another woman, and she starts to dance around with her, but she is the utter life of the party, and her tail is swaying behind her in this very chaotic yet beautiful dance.
This scene is certainly much more lively than perhaps where we just were. My lady, does this fresh air seem to suit you? And Nova, my friend, does this feel a bit better to you?
Feels way better out here. Almost so good, in fact, that maybe we could go dance? You know, they're dancing over there.
You feel resignment in the back of your head, yet nothing is going to stop you. And you see Cornelia looks over at you and then up at Dorian, and he gives a resounded sigh and eventually holds out his hand because he can't deny her what she wants. And without saying another word, he takes her in his arms with a hand. He's holding her hand in his left, and his right is holding her lower back, and he guides her through the crowd to go join them in the dancing. And despite what you may think, he is quite elegant on his feet, as his body naturally flows with everyone else. And despite being at least 3 feet taller than most people, despite being taller than most people, he blends right in with everyone. And Cornelia she is very awkward and rigid in her movement, yet the longer that Dorian is sitting there and dancing with her, she starts to relax and she holds her skirts, and he makes a point of kneeling down and holding out his hand, and she slowly, with an almost hesitant smile, puts her foot in his grasp, and he takes off her shoes and throws them behind her. And once he stands up again, she takes him by the hands and they start to sway and dance together, and she feels a lot more lively in that moment. This is probably the most alive you've seen her, and you haven't seen her for long, but it still is worth noting.
Alfie? Alfie?
What?
You want to dance?
Fuck no.
Alfie.
How am I supposed to? I'm a cat. You said it.
Well, I'll hold you up.
And break my paws?
No, I'll hold you under your arms. You put your paws on my forearms, and then I swing your little legs around. I'm sorry, would you rather me ask
No.
someone else?
Fine. We can dance. And he holds his paws up to be lifted up.
Nova then collects him from under his arms and joins the dancing crowd, swinging around this orange fluffy cat.
I definitely pictured him as a black cat. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, he's orange. He's orange. My bad. He is orange with white little paws.
That makes things so much better, actually.
Yeah, that he's this.
It gives orange cat.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla, give me a performance check.
Nyla a performance or Nova?
Nyla.
Okay.
18.
What do you want to perform for the crowd?
Oh, jeez.
It's like I feel like Nova should do a performance check, see how good her dancing is.
Let me get it for you, Pookie.
Please do. Oh,
Holy
where
shit,
is it?
how far back is it? There we go.
Right there. There it is.
Excellent.
Perfect.
Turn that shit up.
So you all see Nyla. What's the instrument that you have?
Loot.
Is it a lute? Yeah, you all see that Nyla, despite being incredibly hammered, goes up to like the back of the crowd, so sort of how like everyone is standing like around the doors of the town hall, and you hear everyone inside town hall is performing. They sort of like moved closer to the doors, that way everyone can hear them. You see Nyla go around the crowd to the left-hand side, and so she stands off to the side and she pulls out her lute and starts playing this incredible tune that goes perfectly along with the rest of the band. It did take her a few notes, but she did immediately get it. There's just something in her that hears the tune and just knows the next note that's going to be played. And Nyla, you've never played better and never had a more receptive crowd as Sandcast starts to move to your rhythm, and you slowly see that everyone is moving to your rhythm, and you are now in control of the tune. And you start playing a more lively beat, getting everyone more and more excited. And despite how, again, utterly hammered you are, you've never played better in your life. Mr. Sparkles is sitting right at your feet. Mr. Sparkles is sitting right at your feet. Sorry, what were you saying?
Elzanaya is quite pleased with the festivities and goes off to join in and calls back, Henry, behave.
And Henry gives you a nod and immediately runs off. As you're dancing, Elzanaya, you see Sandcast. She notices you, and for some reason she did remember you, and she bounces over to you quite excited, and she takes your hand in hers, and you can't stop it as she twirls you around, is laughing, is just, oh, I'm so excited that you're here. This is wonderful. Aren't you having the best time? Isn't it just so much fun dancing with people you've never met before? But then again, I have met you, and you're so wonderful. Oh, it's so good to see you again. And she immediately lets go of your hands and then flirts off to the next person.
Damn, I was so excited for a second. But
she notices your excitement and then it comes back.
She takes this in graceful stride and then grins and also moves off to another dance partner and continues having fun.
Yeah, you see that Sandcast is like making her rounds with everyone. Like she goes up to Nova and sees her dancing with the cat and like bounces around you guys, and then goes up to Dorian, and she's like, still nothing is impeding her smile. She's just so happy to be alive, which is so weird for everyone that she just has so much joy. But eventually she does go back to you, Elzanaya, and she takes your hands again, and this time she is not letting go. She's like laced her fingers with yours, and you feel that her fur is very soft, and she's just very fluffy in general because she's a tabaxi, and she like curls her tail closer so it like is swaying between the both of you, and eventually it wraps around your back.
Do I notice anything in particular? You said that it's odd that she's so joyful at the moment.
Yeah, like the general feeling of Irthe is that there's just bad stuff happening. And from where you've been, it's weird to see someone so happy to just exist. And it's weird for everyone that someone is this excited to be alive. But that's also just her normal vibe. Sandcast is just one of those people who is just so happy all the time.
Okay, so it's not out of character for her. It's just
No.
weird.
It's out of character for the nation that someone could be so excited.
Can I do a general vibe check of the area while we dance?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming that's perception, yeah?
Yes.
Can we please change the
God
song?
damn it, it fell off the table. Sorry. God damn it. Hold on. I'm using a desk and it like bounces off.
You're fine.
God damn. Fine. Hold on. I'm using a plate. I don't have a dice tray. I have a plastic 50-cent Target plate. Which is not great for rolling on because there's no actual roll. Okay, that's a 12 on the vibe check.
12 on the vibe check. Everyone's just excited. Like, this is the most fun they've had in so long that you see there's just relief going through the air. And so some people are still hesitant, like a lot of the guys are just hesitant to join. But eventually they get slowly wrapped more and more into it, and like their partners come up to them. Like, you see this one man, he runs up to his partner. It's this taller man, excuse me, he runs up, grabs him by the arms, and he's like, there's no chance you're not dancing with me. And he throws him into the crowd, and they just go dancing. And it almost feels like no one really cares about how they look in this moment. And it's like, this is what, you get the feeling that even with a kind of low perception check, you get the feeling that, like, this is what the festival's all about, is letting go of that feeling. And as you're standing there, dancing, partying, having a good time, feeling the energy of the crowd swell, as you're twirled by Sandcast, you look over and you notice that there is a group of people standing on top of a balcony overlooking all of this, and they're standing there. Some of them are tapping their feet, other ones they're leaning against the bar of the balcony, and they're still just bouncing their bodies around, but they do have a different vibe than everyone else here. And Sandcast looks up and she notices them too, and so she squeezes your hand a little bit and she goes, aren't they exciting? Those are the Harpers. Do you know about the Harpers? Aren't they fun? They're just amazing. They're bards. They're incredible. They're so much fun. I love to dance with them. And you know what else I love to do? I love to drink with them because they are so much fun.
Harpers are indeed quite fun company. And Elzaniah takes a pointed look back up at them. Do they notice her?
The Harpers? Yes, they are taking note of everyone that's there. And they are especially looking over, you notice, at Dorian. For those...
I'm gonna...
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So Sandcast looks over at you, and she's like, oh, forgive me. You probably don't even know who they are, because you're new here. Isn't that fun? I just love fun so much. Do you know who the Harpers are, my darling?
Well, I believe you've just described them to me, but please go on.
Oh, yes, they are so... they're brilliant, aren't they? They're bards, but they're also mercenaries. Isn't that cool? They go and kill people like me, because I'm a leader here. But they're not going to do that. They're here to protect us, everyone. Yeah, they're here to, protect you again, and specifically Keela. But they're here for now, and eventually they'll go run around. But they're here for the festival, so we hired them as protection. But they're also here just to make sure that we're not bad people, which is also very cool. Because you don't know anything about Irthe. Oh, no, not Irthe, sorry, Irrigan. You don't know anything about Irrigan. You don't know our history. Let me tell you, it was fascinating. There was this horrible event, right? Horrible. Absolute chaos and depravity and madness. It was awesome. So anyways, this wicked king was a part. He was the supreme ruler of Keela, and the Harpers, they were his bards. They were his entertainment. And you know what they did? They helped kill him. And then they put us in power, because we were the ones who actually went and killed him, so they're the ones who gave us information, but that was of course over 30 years ago. Actually, I think it was closer to 50. I'm quite old, aren't I? But still, I'm having so much fun. Oh, but then again, you don't really know why that's important.
Why didn't you tell me?
So, the reason why the Harpers are so important, why it's so amazing, is that this is the latest generation of them. So these are the children of the ones who helped put us in power, because we are quite old. But that's still fine. I believe so. I think that's fine. I think I'm kind of the oldest. Oh no, that would be Cathara. I think Cathara is the oldest. Then again, no one's really seen her since the event. That's not to worry about. Actually, she is here today. So are all the other ones. You should go and speak with them. I know that they would love to see you because you are such good company. And she immediately lets go of your hands because she's about to go run off again, but she is still staying nearby for the moment.
Interesting idea. Perhaps I will go speak to some Harpers. You know, once I find my way out of the crowd.
Once all these fucking people move.
I feel like Nova overheard most of the conversation as she was dancing around.
Who didn't is the better question.
This is true.
Yes.
And so she's gonna set Alfie around her neck and sort of grab onto what? Oh, okay. Elzanaya's arm. My notes disappeared, guys. Elzanaya's arm. She's gonna grab on and be like, "Let's go."
Sandcast notices you come over and take Elzanaya's arm, and she like looks down at your arm and she goes, "Oh, how wonderful! It's so good to see you again too, my dear. I'm just gonna go, and if you need me, just call for me, because I can hear you." And she like holds her hands up, and she like flicks her ears, and then runs off. Like she disappears into the crowd. You see her like go through the crowd, and you don't see her, and then eventually you see her again standing at the top of the stairs to go into Town Hall.
Breaking fourth wall. I fucking love this character.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Also, Sebi, I sent you something.
Oh god. Everyone's texting me. Oh my, so my
I'm
phone's
so
on
sorry. I
sleep.
love you so much.
No, it's okay. It's my phone is on sleep for some reason, and I never turn it off.
Oh, interesting. Maybe it's a time thing that you've got in your settings.
There we go. I got it fixed. I had to go into my settings. Just in case you whores need to keep messaging me. No, I had no idea how Sandcast was gonna be before doing this. So I'm just making up everyone's personality as I go. But Sandcast is actually...
She's perfect.
She's one of my favorites so far. She's so lovely. So excited. I like doing her voice too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to give everyone a distinctive voice, but I can't do other accents. It's just this.
They're just all British.
Yeah, they're all British,
All
but
British.
that's okay. But I feel like everyone has a distinct voice, for the most part.
Yeah, it's okay. British people aren't real anyway, as we all know, so
neither
it's
are French.
Exactly. The French are too weird to exist.
And rude.
Yeah.
They're just goofy little guys, really.
In TVs.
Oh, yes. Nova and Elzanaya are on their way towards the Harpers.
I want to go see the Harpers. I want to talk to them.
So,
We're going to the Harpers.
Cornelia notices you all. She clocks that you all are leaving, so she taps Dorian on the chest. She has to like raise her hand, but she taps him on the chest, and then they start following after you all as well, because she's also curious about them. And the Harpers, again, they're on a balcony, but this is a public building, so you can walk into it. But they're on a balcony, and they notice you all coming closer, and they make a point of walking back inside the building that they're in. So they're on the second floor.
Can I see where Henry is?
Yeah, make a perception check.
Where the fuck is Henry?
Ah, that's an 8.
You can't see him.
Okay.
You told him
I'll trust
to
that
behave.
he's being a good boy.
You told him to behave. He's behaving. At least you think he is.
Good. Excellent.
He's with Mr.
I'm
Sparkle.
gonna trust that he's being a good boy.
Is
Nyla-
Mr. Sparkle still at Nyla's feet?
Yes, he is. he is very tuckered out from crying all morning. But you do see his tail is wiggling. He does like all the music. He always likes when you play music, so he's gonna stay close to you, Nyla.
We head into this building, I think.
Yeah.
Nyla
Go
is
find the
going to be
Harpers.
curious and follow them.
Yeah, like, is Nyla coming?
Yes,
Nova's
Nyla is.
hand accidentally slips from like high up on her arm more towards like holding her hand as she like pulls her along.
Like a wham wham.
Elsanaya goes ahead and like very gracefully alters their arms so that they're just walking arm in arm. And she's kind of pulling Nova along.
Wonderful.
Hand went down, hand went right back up.
No, but like they're walking arm in arm. It's fine. Also,
They're
I don't think
walking
I
around.
mentioned before, it might be important just
Oh.
for like picturing things. Elsanaya has a staff that she's got in her other hand.
I also just realized that there's a foot difference between the two of them.
Yeah, Elsanaya is tall.
Really?
She's a tall gal.
Sandcast is
And-
shorter than you, Elsanaya, so she was like looking up at you.
That's cute.
And Nova's very short.
Yeah, I wanted to see
You
the
pulled
difference.
a
make
me.
Elsanaya. Hold on.
Wait, how tall?
You
is
pulled
a
me.
Nova? She's 5'10".
What is how
4'10".
tall is
She's
Nyla?
4'10".
Oh yeah, I forgot. I made
Yeah.
Nyla fucking tall.
Yeah, Nyla's
Nova is 4'10".
Hold on.
Would y'all like to know
so
how tall
cute.
Nyla is?
She's a very tiny bean.
Nyla is 6'2".
Okay, I'm gonna do that after we're done. Okay, so as you all walk into the building, Nyla, you're towards the back, but Dorian, he sort of pushes Cornelia to go in beside you, so he's standing in the back. Of course, he has to duck down as soon as he's walking in, and he sort of can't stand at full height in these buildings because they're not super tall. Like, the only one that he could was the inn, because it's used to having tall ceilings, but this building does not. So he sort of, like, has to have his head at an angle, so he almost keeps his head tilted down, so he's, again, just staring down at everyone. And so as you all walk in, you realize that you are in a tailor. And so the tailor, he's in the back of the shop. He's not really worried about anybody. There's not really much that you can see within the building. You do see a lot of like fabric examples, like of embroidery that he's done or jewelry that is being sold there because there is a jeweler that also works in this shop. You see that it's very bright in this area and there's carpet that leads up to the stairs. And so over at the stairs, you see that there's someone who kind of jogs down them. And there is a human man. He's about 6 foot tall. He's got plain clothes on, a lot different than what you'd expect to see of someone, especially someone who's called a bard. He has a sword at his hip, and you see that on his back he has his instrument, which is a lyre, and it's just hooked on. But he greets you all, and he looks over and he's like, so good to see you. What can I help you with? It's very businessy with him. He's not really super excited to see you guys, but he's not opposed to it. Like, it's his job to help people. So he's going to stand there and say, hi, how can I help you?
Good sir, we're travelers to this city, and this is a lovely festival, and we were just wondering if you might be able to provide us some information. We hear that you and the other Harpers just know so much about the area and the history of the city, and we were just wondering if you might be able to provide us with some guidance on where we are.
I don't mind at all, but I'm not really the best at this sort of stuff. To be honest, I'm better at swinging the sword, milady. Let me go upstairs and I'll get one of my friends, and I think he'd be best to help you guys. And you see that he turns and walks back up the stairs, and it's sort of an unspoken rule that you should not walk up the stairs. Emma, give me a wisdom saving throw.
Giving you a wisdom. Giving you a wisdom. It is Wisdom. Uh, it's a 17.
You take a step towards the stairs and get control of yourself and you stop. So you're just a step in front of Elzaniah, but
Oh,
you
I'm
can't stop
sorry.
yourself.
Oh, wait. Wisdom plus 2? No, 17. You're right. Yep.
It's fine. So yeah, you sort of right yourself and you stop yourself from walking forward, but you did get the feeling of, I want to walk up those stairs. But you don't. You
Okay.
do stop yourself and you sort of stand back and you like realign yourself to be back at Elzaniah's side, so your arms are still held. You just kind of like move forward a little bit, but then you do come back. And a few seconds later, you see that Dorian. You kind of turn around to see if anyone else noticed you, and Dorian kind of smirks and immediately goes to sit down. He's not really paying attention to you, and you don't get a necessarily bad feeling, but you are keeping close eye of Dorian because something in the back of your head says that he knew what you just did.
What? He knows what I just did?
Possibly.
Okay.
And a few minutes later, you see that a woman now comes down and said, this is a short elven woman. She has, excuse me, long green hair that sort of goes down to her ankles. It's braided back in many ornate braids, and she has some jewels hanging from it. So she comes downstairs, and this time she has a staff in one hand, and you see hanging from her belt she has a pan flute. And so she walks up and she's like, so my friend told me that you all need help about the area of history and stuff like that. How can I be of assistance to you?
Elzaniah is gonna turn to Cornelia. She's standing with them. Yeah.
Yes, Cornelia is standing right behind you guys. Dorian's really the only one
Okay.
who's walked off. He's like looking at all the trinkets.
Okay, well, Elzaniah is going to have a very kind look to Cornelia and kind of give her like a nonverbal invitation to step forward if she wants, and ask, well, my lady, as you were telling us that you, like us, are new to the area, is there anything in particular that you would like to know?
Oh! And she like points at herself for a second and looks over immediately at Dorian. He has his back to her, but he still waves his hand for her to go on. So she steps forward, kind of hesitating, but she walks around you two and she sort of stands closer to you, Elzaniah, and she looks over at the Harper and she goes, well, you see, has there been anything strange happening here in Irgen? Maybe like unnatural weather? And you see the Harper kind of like narrows her eyes over at Cornelia, and she cocks her head and she like puts her hand up to her mouth, and she's like, unnatural weather. No, I mean, well, we did have a terrible winter. That was a bit weird, more so than usual. And you see Cornelia kind of perks up at that, and she's like, unnatural. What happened? If you don't mind telling us, that is. And the Harper, she sort of takes a step down from the stairs because she was still standing on one of them. So she steps down. You see that she's about at your height, Elzaniah, and so she leans against the post of the stairs because it's a round staircase, and so she leans up against the post and she's like, well, you see, it was the darndest thing. All of the crops just poofed, gone. It was almost like there was a drought that happened, and then after the drought had gone through, everything froze. So it was real strange getting everyone back into the business. We assumed that it might have been a malevolent force, like, some warlock perhaps that had gone around and, fucked up a spell, but we couldn't really find anything, no. I mean, other than that, nothing real strange has happened weather-wise. There was an earthquake a few days ago, but nothing really damaged, and that's kind of often that happens here because we are on a cliff. I don't know if you can see, but we are on a cliff, so yeah, that's kind of bound to happen naturally, I think, isn't it? Yeah, I'd say so. So yeah, we had a bit of a little rattle, but nothing real intense. Just that winter was quite bad, but other than that, there's really nothing that I could say weather-wise. It's kind of strange. I hadn't really thought about it either until you mentioned it. Um, as for the festival that's going on here, if you need any information about that, I don't mind helping you because my family actually traces back to the people who started the celebration of the blue moon, so I can help you with that. Or if you need a tour around here again, I don't mind doing that at all. Or if you need more information, I know Sandcast would be very pleased to tell you about that. But if you need any information about the Council of Warriors, I don't mind giving you that as well. I just can't really answer weather-related questions. I'm afraid I'm not. That's not really my expertise. And Cornelia raises her hand. She's like, "Oh no! It's. I promise. It's fine. I know that was a bit strange to ask. Yes. Why don't you tell us, more about the Council of Warriors?" And so the Harper looks over at you all. And she's like, "Well, what all do you want to know?"
Well, do we know what the Council of Warriors is, Lord Master? Or is this like a new
Yes,
term?
it is new, but with context clues, you know that it's probably the council because Sandcast has said that she's part of the council. You probably figure that it's all the leaders of Irrigan,
Okay.
but you don't really
Well,
know
yes, as
much beyond that. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. You're good. So as I understand it, the council, takes care of the affairs of the city. But what more could you tell us about perhaps its history or its organization, just so we have a better understanding of how the city operates?
Right, well, you might want to take a seat. This could take a minute. But basically, after the Age of Turmoil, which, you all won't know that either. Sandcast probably told you, but it was a great civil war that happened. There was a king. We helped kill the king. That's cool. So anyways, after we killed the king, we had the council put on. So Sandcast was one of the first who helped create it. And basically, the Council of Warriors, these are all the people who helped kill the Bloody King, right? So, since they helped kill the Bloody King, forgive me, we thought they would be best to help govern us, and so we're also here to keep them in charge, unofficially, but kind of officially. We don't really have a retainer or anything like that. We kind of just do it just for fun, I'd say. But basically, what we do is we go around and we fix the town, we make sure that everything's up and running, and we keep, all the people happy. And the council, what they do is they give order to the whole place. So they're the ones who carry out all the rules. They're the ones who help decide when we're going to do things, like when the big festivals are going to happen, or, you know, when, I'm trying to think of other ways that they do stuff. They just do everything. So the council, they give voice to the people, but they have to listen to the people. If that, excuse me, that makes sense. So when the people are like, "Oh, well, we're not happy with this thing that's going on," then the council will come forward and they're like, "Oh, well, we'll take care of it, we'll do something about it." And Sandcast is usually the one who does everything. But they're the ones who survived from the Age of Turmoil. Most people didn't, actually. It's quite sad, isn't it? Most of their friends died, and they're the only ones that are left alive. I never really thought about it like that. Huh. I think about something new every day. But yeah, that's what they do. Um, let's see. And so she pulls out a piece of parchment from her pocket. She's like, what are their names? There's Cathara. She's the weird one who never shows her face. There's Urdak. There's Donna. And of course, there's Sandcast, which you all had the pleasure of meeting. Sandcast is usually the one that shows her face around. None of the other ones really do. That's why I need this piece of paper to remember their own bloody names. What specifically do you want to know?
Break fourth wall here, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be so real. Elzaniah is interested in learning the inner workings of the council and stuff and the politics of the city. And is interested in gaining more information for the sake of her new friends. But Alyssa is quite eepy at this time and is unsure that I'm unsure that either I or Elzanaya is actually going to absorb information properly at this time in a way that I'll remember it and be able to think about it. Not sure how other people are feeling at this time. I know that it's later for y'all than it is for me. But I thought I'd check in.
Yeah, how are we all
see
feeling?
how we're doing.
Emma feels the same. Emma is eepy. Nova would like to ask questions, but Emma is eepy.
That's fine. We can cut it here. We have been on for quite a while, so I think this is a good first session. It was a lot of lore dumping at you guys, though, because you all just don't know anything about this area, so it is quite new for you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we're going...
I'd say it's been a lot of really good roleplay, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. That bit with Henry. Henry licking the peas. He was just so excited for the peas.
He's so excited for the peas.
He just wanted the peas so bad. Alright.
So bad. I